So, Tej, you want to hear a story?
Let's hear a story, brother. Let's hear a story. I can sense something is up by your voice, a lot of depth in your voice to kick this off. Let's hear it.
Okay. So we spoke on Tuesday night, and I believe on Thursday, I experienced perhaps the most impactful day of my life.
Wow.
Um, so let me paint the picture for you. So I'm at the Joe Dispenza retreat, having a great time, enjoying it every step of the way. Loving the moments, loving feeling more coherent in my brain and body. 2,000 people in a ballroom meditating for, uh, you start at 6 a.m., you end at 8 p.m. every day. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. Um, okay. So Thursday rolls around and we're feeling good. We're in the zone. And he introduces a concept called coherence healing. Coherence healing basically means that there's 2,000 people in this ballroom and they get broken down into healers and healees. And so, of those 2,000 people in the ballroom, approximately 50 of those people, or 150 to 100, have some condition that they want to heal. So, it could be something like cancer, or it could be something like um, Parkinson's. There's various different conditions that people would like to heal. And so basically what happens is you you take the love that's in your heart and you put your hands together, you rub your hands together, and you put your hands around the person who is being healed. And so you're looking at maybe 50 to 100 of these pods around this massive ballroom of 6 to 8 people putting their hands, feeling the love in their heart, and putting their hands around that person who is to be healed. All right?
Hmm.
You understanding?
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Cool. So in in October of last year, I sprained my right ankle. And I sprained it and it meant I couldn't run the New York City Marathon and that was quite frustrating for me. Um, but it also led to this issue of like lower back pain on my right side. And, after 3 days of doing this, I was feeling it in my lower back. And prior to this, leading up to the retreat, I'd uh, done a lot of yoga and made yoga a priority in my life because of the lower back pain that I was feeling. It wasn't a big deal. It was probably like a 4 out of 10, maybe a 3 out of 10, maybe 5 out of 10, depending if I was really sitting a lot that day.
Hmm.
Um, and additionally, my feet, my left foot has always been straight, and my right foot has always been pronated a little bit to the right side. So it had like a 30-degree or 45-degree angle when I would walk. And this is just how it's always been for my body. My right kneecap is tilted slightly to the right. So that's just what I thought, my entire life would look like. And I was completely fine with that. It was giving me some pain, but this is just how it goes. Anyway, back to the ballroom. It's really a magical scene in that he releases you before you even get to the ballroom. He releases you for a 45-minute break and he says, pretend or imagine. He said, imagine you're about to heal your father, your mother, your sister, your brother. How seriously would you take that?
Wow.
And, most people, it seemed, Like they got coffee, they chatted with friends, they connected, which was beautiful. I said, okay, if this is my father, my sister, my brother, my friend, if this is Tej who needs to be healed or wants to be healed in this moment, I'm going to meditate for 45 minutes.
Wow.
So
Ooh. On top of the crazy meditation schedule already. But go
exactly.
on.
So I was just like, I'm going to take this as seriously as I can with every aspect of my being. This felt like the reason that I was here. And I felt just this power of what we were about to do. I had never done it, but I just felt the power of it.
Hmm.
So I meditate right by the entrance for 45 minutes with just my eyes closed. Just a simple meditation that you've taught me that I've done, just open awareness. Naval teaches it as well. Just open awareness, just allow whatever to come into your mind.
Hmm.
So my eyes are closed and I'm lost in the moment. I'm lost in this feeling. And it's kind of choppy a little bit in and out, but at maybe the 35-minute mark, I start to feel this intense emotion of love just well up inside of me, so much so that it flashes images. My mind flashes images on the screen and videos of my family loving one another and connecting with one another. And I start bawling, crying. And I stayed with that for a minute and two, but then I opened my eyes. And I had no sense of time, but I see now as I open my eyes, all of the people that were once scattered around are now lined up and they're ready to go. And I'm the only person on the floor and I'm 10 feet away from them. And so I must have been feeling that feeling of love that they were all already feeling. And I was now getting a hit of it. Anyway, they play this beautiful song. We walk into the ballroom. I'm feeling this tremendous love. I'm feeling the power of so many people in my family. And I want everything in my power and everything in my being to help this person heal who is is asking to be healed. I walked into that room, I experienced 1,800 people or 2,000 people so full of love that I've never experienced that wave. It was the most powerful force I've ever experienced in this lifetime. And as I'm going and directing my focus on this person who I don't know, and I'm feeling the love of all the love that I can feel, I feel the right side of my body, my right leg, and my stomach and my right shoulder just have an incredible amount of electricity run through it. We do the healing where you then I didn't think really anything of that, but we do the healing and I put my hands together, rub them together, and put them out to this person along with seven other people. And is this profound moment after it's over, it lasts anywhere from 20 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes after it's over. It's a really special moment. The person is crying, other people in the little pod of healers are crying and this is going around all over as well, like with 100 different 50 to 100 different other people. Anyway, I thought it was a really special moment. I mean, I called people in my family after and I was just like, this was a profound moment of my life. Like I'm so grateful that I got to be a part of this. I want to learn how this works. I want to learn. I feel like this is going to be part of my future in some way. And then I go to sleep. And the next morning is not a 6 a.m. wake up, it's a 3:30 wake up for a 4 a.m. meditation.
When you
Bro,
said that, I was like, oh, they're gonna let you sleep in a little bit.
just the opposite. They're like, all right, let's hit it. 4 a.m. meditation, which turned out to be a 5 hour meditation, which just was wild.
Wow.
Joe Dispenza really is my boy after this, and we'll get to that in a little bit.
But go on. Continue.
So I'm walking. I'm walking to this 4 a.m. meditation at 3:45 in the morning. And I'm about halfway to the convention center. And I start bawling, crying when I look down.
Wow.
And I look down and see that for the first time in my life, after 30 years, I am walking with my left and my right feet
No.
perfectly straight.
Yeah. Bro.
For the rest of the day, the back pain was gone.
Oh.
For the following day, the legs kept walking straight. The back pain was gone. For the following
Wow.
day, and it's still to this day, I just drove 4 hours and my back pain would be at a zero point 0.5 out of 10.
Wow. Dude.
Joe Dispenza is my boy.
Bro.
And I had no intention, genuinely zero, like 0.0000% of me was thinking anything about myself in that moment. It was, I wasn't thinking, oh, I'm going to be healed of anything. I was like, this is about this person. I love you. I love you. I want to put all the force and energy and power that I have in me to love you, who's laying down right now and blindfolded. And I just want to pour all my energy and love into you. That was it. And then as I'm doing that, just the electric shock just heals my body.
Bro.
I wouldn't have believed, I don't know if I would have believed this story 10 years ago. I doubt I would have. And 5 years ago, maybe. 3 years ago, 1 year ago, I'm open to it, possibly. But to have this happen to me, I thought, like I'm good. I don't need to be healed. Like I'm just here to heal.
Mm,
But that was the most mystical experience of my life.
bro.
So,
Bro.
yep, yep, yep.
How did it feel for you? There's so much to unpack here.
I know.
Um, how did it feel for you to, you were so focused on bringing the love. How did it feel for you to receive the love and to experience this level of healing?
Yeah, what's so interesting about that question is at the end of the meditation, at the end of the session, after you put your hands out to heal, and then Joe has you bring your hands to your heart and to feel the love that you just gave.
Hmm.
And it's a beautiful exercise and practice. And I don't know if I fully felt it. I did feel amazing in that moment and appreciative of it, but I can't say I fully felt it until I saw the impact that it had the following day. You understand?
Absolutely. You know what's also so beautiful is it seemed like you were so rooted in love and had completely forgotten about yourself that it's like realizing that you're walking properly was a surprise to you. It's like something you just discovered, right?
Yes.
It's like, oh, there's this dining guy here. Oh, wait a minute, what the fuck? He's walking like that. It's like
Yes.
such it's like so fascinating.
And to think it's completely possible that I was walking like that right after and just had no
Right,
idea.
right. Ooh, I didn't even think of that.
Like that certainly is a possibility. And I was just so enraptured in the moment. It's possible it healed that night as well. I have no idea. But I just know when I noticed it, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. And the the implications of that, right?
Exactly. That's
Yeah,
what I
I
want to
knew I knew
unpack.
you were
The
gonna go there.
implications.
Yeah,
I'm just warming up, baby. We're gonna spend the whole pod on this, I feel like.
yeah. We definitely could.
Because, dude, the implications,
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
like, if you stare the implications directly in the face, it's game over in the best way possible.
Tell me, what are the implications for you, Tej?
Oh, I want to unpack these implications live because I feel like this is like such a great example. You know how last pod we were talking about an eye wink from God and you catch it?
Mm. Hmm.
This isn't a fucking eye wink.
This is a Mack truck and the best. This is surgery on
Exactly.
your ankle and your back.
Exactly. Exactly. And even what you were saying, like last pod or the pod before, you were talking about the force of love,
Mm.
right? And how you haven't found anything better and you tried so many different
Mm.
things.
Mm.
It's so interesting to like see this is the beauty, like at least for me, to run these conversations weekly. It's because
Yeah.
so much unfolds on a week by week basis.
Yeah.
And bro, this is like the best demonstration of the force of love. And look how much it even surprises us, even though we
Yes.
talk about it.
And live it to the best of our abilities as much as we possibly can. But dude,
Dude,
I mean, we'll get to this. You have to go to one of these retreats. Like the feeling of the 2,000 people all living in love is
bro.
unlike anything I've ever experienced. And it's like, I can just imagine it be my gift to people. I want to create the world in which I can just gift people. You want to come to a retreat? Here, I got a ticket. It's on me. That's what I want to build for myself. Just where I
Wow.
could bring people into that level of love because if you're ready for it and if you're looking for it, I don't know if I would have been ready for this 7 years ago when I started to meditate, when I discovered Joe Dispenza's books. But if you're ready for it and you're excited about the challenge of 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. meditations and you love like learning about all this stuff, it is the greatest gift to be able to like share. And I understand your friend going 10 times after experiencing what I experienced.
Dude, I gotta tell you, yeah, I'm down, definitely down after hearing what you just shared to check it out. But leading up to today's pod, I had to pay homage to you and to your boy Joe Dispenza. So I hit a Blessings of the Energy Center meditation earlier today.
What? What? I love it. I love to hear that. Was that your first Joe Dispenza meditation you've done?
No, I've done
Okay.
some other ones, but I think this one was the first Blessings of the Energy Center one.
It was really, I'm so curious to get your perspective on it. It was so interesting to hear his perspective on that. He said during the event, I go back to my room sometimes and I work on the fifth energy center, which is the throat. And he said, I do that because if there's resistance in the room, that shows up in my throat. And I was
Interesting.
like, how cool is that? That he's tapped into all
Interesting.
of that. And he's been in enough rooms where he knows the difference between the
Right.
message landing and it not, and the material's the same. And so, yeah.
Dude, we need to rewind this. We need to go back to the we're getting ahead of ourselves. We gotta turn back
Okay.
immediately
We can turn. We can turn.
and go straight into
Yeah.
well, one, dude, how does it feel to, experience back pain at that level for this time and to have it one mystical experience aside to just have it, no longer be here?
It feels fantastic. And the first day that it happened, the 4 a.m. day that I was walking like I was 3 years old.
Wow.
I was walking around with each step being like, is this real? Like, how is this even possible?
Mm,
What is going on? Like, is this going to end at any point? Like, are you serious? I could just take steps like this and it looks like this. So, yeah, that was a really interesting component. I saw the foot, you know, now it's going straight, but I was wondering about the back pain. I was, my back wasn't, I didn't feel anything in my back during the meditation or during the coherence healing. And so I was curious about that. And by the end of the day, I had no back pain. And you have to understand, every day I was putting my legs up on the wall. I was doing um, like a runner's lunge.
Mhm.
I really work it, and I have really worked it for for like at least 4 months of consistent, whenever I can, yoga. I sit down, and so when I sit down a lot, it really comes up. And so I was like, wow, I don't need to stretch today. This is
Dude,
wild.
this is exactly what I was going to say. It's like we do so many things to manage the symptoms, but the only thing that cures is love.
Yes, that is 100% accurate. And how 1,800 people in a room loving is something that I've never experienced before. So yeah, it's like, okay, the doctor, you can go to the doctor and he can prescribe you, okay, you're gonna need 40 people to love in a room
This is
and
the
you'll be
type of
good to
doctor
go.
I want to go to.
Me too. Me too. And I think that's what the future looks like. I really do. With my whole heart, after experiencing what I've experienced and witnessing what I've witnessed, this is the way that people will heal in the future.
Bro, this is like even in like I think maybe in the autobiography of a yogi, like certain beings that have embodying so much love, they can just look at you and heal you.
Yeah, I believe it. I completely believe it.
But what I'm curious about, and boy am I curious today, I'm curious about so like up until now, right? Like if we had to give Danny Miranda, like on Twitter, everybody's like, "Oh, I'm the writing guy," or "I'm this guy," "I'm that guy," right? Like the one word that I would give to Danny Miranda before hearing this is love,
Mm,
right?
mm.
I think it comes across in your expression, it comes across in your entire way of being and how you go about living your life. But what I'm curious about is for you personally, right? After experiencing this
Mm.
and seeing just how powerful love truly is, what does it do for you and your relationship with love and the way you view it?
Yeah, that's a really good question. For me, it makes me curious. That's the first thing. It makes me curious about the power of it, the power of this force. It's it makes me realize how little I know, and it makes me really interested to study because Joe Dispenza is about to become my new best friend.
He already is.
I am going to go into his materials, into his writing, listening to his podcast, um, because he obviously knows something that I wasn't aware of, and he knows a lot more than I know about this topic that I'm so interested in, which is love. And he has merged science with that, and I've had a direct experience of what his work has the power to do. So um, it makes me a student. It makes me curious. It makes me excited to learn. It makes it makes me realize how important the work actually is.
Say more about that.
Well, you could know, yeah, it's important to love. Yeah, it's important. Yeah, like yeah, yada yada. You heard it a million times. Like love your neighbor like yourself. You've heard the sayings, you've heard it all, but you don't necessarily see it because love, like God, love God. the force of God is connected to the force of love. It's like, is love God? God is love. Like you can't see love. You can only see the byproducts of it sometimes when people acknowledge it. And and so because it's this unseen force, as living in a material world, even I can get caught up in the material. And it's just it's just not as important as this force. And and nurturing this force within you so you can be a steward of it and help other people with it. And as soon as you bask in this force and you pour into yourself, if you ask yourself, if you truly and deeply loved yourself, what would you do?
Mm.
And that's a question from Kamal Ravikant. And that question,
Hmm.
if you actually answer it and answer it with the truthful thing that pops up, that has huge implications for not only your life, but the lives of others. And that's a moment to moment question where the thing that was true last week could be the opposite today.
Right.
And you have to keep asking the question. And and the implications of it are massive. It's the power to heal. It's the power to help other people connect. It's the power to be one with all that is. So it just made it take the practice of loving myself and loving the world a lot more seriously.
Dude, you know what's so interesting is I love that you brought Kamal Ravikant into this because on some level, when you were writing down "I love myself" 100 times a day on a piece
Mm-hmm.
of paper,
Mm-hmm.
something inside you already knew just how powerful this force is,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That to me, like I don't think like time is linear at all, right?
No. No.
So it's like obviously Danny, the one that lives in time and kind of experiences things linearly. To him, he didn't know what was around the corner, right?
Mm-hmm.
But something deeper
Mm-hmm.
that made you, one, attracted to that practice, and two, gave you the consistency and the willpower to actually do it and to enjoy the fruits that it delivered. I feel that part was love itself that was directing the show this entire time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that became clear the third day. So let me give you just a brief
Please do.
overview over the second, because there's three coherence healings. So that
Okay.
was the first one, and that was by far the most impactful for me. And you know, the 3 days prior, and this I want to really give like a full and accurate um, perspective on all this because
Mhm.
you got the headline. The headline story is this man's back pain is gone, and this man's foot has now tilted 35
Dude.
degrees while he's walking. Okay, that's the headline, and that's the truth. That's the God's honest truth. What's also true is that my stomach, when when I felt that energy in my stomach, my first thought was, I have so many allergies. And so I wonder if my allergies are cleared. And so 3 days prior, I was thinking it would be so great to have shrimp. I can't have shrimp; it's shellfish, so that's not on the menu. Um, but then the day, the day, the day that this happened, shrimp was on the menu, and I had no idea. So, so I go to lunch. My foot is healed. My back is healed. And I felt, oh, maybe my stomach has to do with the fact that maybe my allergies are healed too. I go to get some shrimp and I just get one piece because I don't know what's going to happen. I eat half of it and I'm like, okay, this is solid. This like I think I could have this. I go to eat the other half and I'm like, I definitely cannot have this. And
Mhm.
it wasn't a bad reaction. I'm not super allergic to shrimp, but
Right.
I wasn't um it wasn't good for me. And
Mhm.
so my allergies were not healed. And the second day I'm like, "Oh my God, okay. If if this could heal my foot, what else can it heal within me?" And because of that thought, that it made the second session for me way less powerful. It was
Right.
still an interesting and I
Right.
felt the love for sure, but it wasn't anything like the first session.
Mm.
And and so the third session, I'm like, okay, I have to completely drop my story about who I am, what anything that it's not about me. This is about the other person. Just pour love into them. And that session was way more powerful than the second one, but not as powerful as the first, but still like an incredible experience of just felt sense of love. Every day you could feel the love in the room, but it was just an interesting thing to subjectively rate the experiences based on how much I was actually there. Meaning
Dude.
that the less that I was there, the
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 more you
greater
were
the
there.
experience.
Dude, I love that you broke that down because I feel like the first time that something like that happens and you realize that there's like, obviously you realized it before, but like the first time you experience it in this way, it's almost like the initial reaction, at least it was for me, it was like, oh shit, let me see if I can twist the arm of God. And right? It's like, yo,
Yeah. Give me
there's
this.
all this, yeah, give me this, give me that. And it's like writing like a Christmas wish list, right? To God essentially. But what's so interesting is the connection that you made,
Mm,
right? It's like when there's less of you there, meaning you as in like the condition Danny, the more space there is for God to show up.
yeah.
And when God shows up, there's just God. So God delivers ripples of love that go in every which direction, including right back at you.
Yeah. And the way that he breaks this down is so practical and so useful in that he describes each of us having a field that can be coherent or incoherent, or somewhere in the middle of incoherent and coherent. And that when we focus on love, when we focus on our heart, the field around us, we can't see it, but it's there, becomes more coherent. And when you have 6 or 8 people feeling coherently, the field that is operating around them, the waves are working in sync in their own being, and then they connect that with other beings around you and use that coherent field to direct that energy to that person. Their field then becomes more coherent, and anything that's incoherent folds in its presence. And it sounds like all of the spiritual texts. Love melts away anything that's not love, right? And it's just such a powerful frame. And he just explains it so well, where with visuals that you could see it. Oh, that truly makes sense. I felt that before. So yeah, that's my boy, Joe Dispenza.
I like how we manifested him becoming your boy before he became your boy. Shout out to
Okay.
your boy.
Okay, wait. So on that topic, last night after last yesterday after the third coherence, the it ended around 2 o'clock. I'm feeling this high, this incredible feeling of love and connectedness to everyone. And I go on a walk by myself to really integrate it. Come back for dinner. After dinner, I'm about to go to my room. I'm in the lobby of the hotel, but I see a couple of my friends. And as I see them, I start talking to them. I start telling them about Hawkins and the map of consciousness and muscle testing and we're enjoying it and we're having a good time. Then another one of our friends comes in. Then we're all getting together and we're in a circle, a little circle in the lobby, and we are putting our hands on our heart, getting our fields coherent, and then putting our hands to a center point all together in this lobby. We're very close in proximity, but we're talking about this specific little space, and we're saying this space is going to be a space of healing and love for the next 100 years, and let people who walk through this space
Wow.
feel the power and the love that we are placing into it in this moment. And let Dr. Joe Dispenza, walk through this field and let him feel this love.
Wow.
So we finished our healing and then like just this little circle in this moment. And one of my friends was telling us about how when she was doing one of the meditations, two Canadian guys came over to her. And as she said, literally, as she said those words, two Canadian guys, they literally appeared right behind her. And so that was pretty cool. And we were talking about all the moments from the retreat, and another 10 minutes go by. And then Dr. Joe Dispenza walks
Of course.
right
Of
up to
course.
us through the field that we created for him to walk in.
Wow.
And he stopped and he chatted with us for 10 minutes. And I shook his hand and I said, I'll see you in Cancun, which is the next retreat in 21 days. Um, and and I was just like, wow, what what a moment. Took a photo with him. And he's like, I never take photos, but I'm feeling like
Wow. For my boy, he took a photo.
uh-huh. And then the Canadian said, I literally saw this happen before the retreat. I was walking here and I was like, Joe's gonna walk through here and I'm gonna ask him to take a photo and I'm gonna be nervous to do it and I'm gonna do it. And and I saw this whole thing play out in my mind a week ago. And I just,
Ooh.
I mean, come on. Like what is this reality? It's not what we think. It's not what we're taught. There's something much deeper going on. And that is very difficult to wrap our heads around in 2026, and it's getting easier and easier by the day.
Dude, how does it feel to receive such a strong, coherent confirmation? You like how I'm picking up the lingo? How does it feel? Because you know what's really cool? It's like what you did at your retreat
Mm,
in Austin, the
mm,
one that I went to.
mm.
It was like you were one individual, right? Running this retreat, and you were in touch with so much love and you just wanted to serve. There was like no Danny. And we saw the effect. I experienced it firsthand, the effect and the impact that that had on myself and also like everybody else that was at the retreat that, I spoke to regarding the impact of the retreat that you hosted. Now, Joe's retreat seems like what would happen if like 2,000 people like Danny Miranda got together, right? And you as in the listener or me, Tej, was in that vicinity. Like what would be the effects of that? I experienced it at just your retreat.
Yeah.
So to experience it at like 1,000, 2,000 person level, it seems like I'm not surprised that you're walking properly. And properly is just,
Yeah.
you were walking properly before too,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
like I'm not surprised, but also I feel like the physical level, people think creating change on the physical level takes time,
Mm,
but I think what keeps us stuck in the physical level from changing is our story about the physical.
mm,
And it's so unconscious, right? So it's like the unconscious story never changes. So, like, the physical never changes.
mm,
And it feels like there's parts of us inside, parts of our consciousness where we don't let love in.
mm,
And that in
mm-hmm,
return gives rise to, you can say, different types of ailments, or just like, different types of patterns, or different types of challenges. But I think at a place like this, it's like maybe on day one, a little bit of love goes to the places where you're used to receiving love. On day
mm,
two, maybe a little bit more circulates and enters parts that you didn't know were lovable, but now a little bit of love is going there.
mm,
And then maybe once the coherence starts, it's like, no, you're gonna be broken right wide open, baby. And love
mm-hmm,
is gonna go everywhere because
mm-hmm.
that's what love does. And it's like it erases the story of you to the point that it feels like after you experience this, you almost have to like gather yourself again and like, who am I? And like, what is this? And like put the puzzle pieces back together.
1000%. 1000%. It leaves me with more questions than answers. And it leaves me with realizing how little I know. And it leaves me so excited to find out. And and I really saw day by day how I was creating my entire experience. And I saw how more and more of myself came online day by day. And in full transparency, I started this retreat on Saturday before it started. I was not in a happy and grateful place. I knew intellectually I should be, but I felt frustrated and angry. I felt like my desires weren't I wasn't actualizing my desires in the way that I thought I was capable of, and I wasn't sure exactly why. And as I saw more and more of myself come online, I just was like, "Oh my God, the answer is always love." And what that means, and how to allow that in, and the depths to which you allow that in depend on how much love you're already feeling. And Joe talked about this mystical experience he had when he was just looking at the water, and he just had this realization: there's always more love to receive.
Hmm.
There's always more. And even when you think you've reached the max capacity, there's more. And of course there's more. If there's 1,800 people in a room, what would 18,000 feel like? If there's 18, what would 180,000 feel like? And so of course there's more, but I don't think about it. I never have thought about that before. And so as somebody who considered myself a very loving and happy and an excited person about life, and I wasn't coming into it with it. Sometimes the more information you have is like, actually, it makes it harder, because when you're not living in what you know you're capable of,
Right.
it's like,
Right.
fuck,
Yeah.
it hurts. And so what it feels like is that I went from a, a place that wasn't wholeness, wasn't coherent, to, oh my God, I'm connecting with people in a deep way that I've always known how. And wow, this is really special. It's really special to feel the discrepancy between where I was and where I feel like I am in this moment.
You know the saying, it's like we, hear it all the time that like love is infinite.
Hmm.
It's like we hear that, right? And like the mind still tries to like make it finite. It's like, but it's like the same story you hear when people share their near death experiences.
Yeah.
And they're like, the amount of love that opened up, it's like I can't even begin to put into words
Yeah.
the effect and the impact and the vastness and the infinite nature of love that was present, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like that's what I received when I was healing a person. What would it feel like to receive that from eight other people?
Mm.
What would it feel like to receive that from 80 people?
Hmm.
You know, it's just it there were so many things that came up when this happened. It was like, okay, one, this is part of my calling to help people do this,
Hmm.
to to get really good at this specific skill set or modality. How do I become the best coherence healer I can become? You know,
Hmm.
how do I bring this to my friends and family? What would family gatherings look like if we did this?
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
What would your get-togethers with your friends look like if you did this? Why isn't this part of the curriculum of school? Why how can this become part of the just the way what kids are taught at a young age? Um, there were there were so many questions that came up through this process, but I felt deeply connected to it and connected to bringing this to people I love, and you know, and someone listening right now, like that. If you're still listening, there's some part of you that is curious about
Oh, they're
this.
still listening to this one, I'll tell you.
There's some part that's like, what? That's possible? I mean, it made me, you know, I've always had this feeling of skepticism about doctors and just this natural sense of there's not that this isn't right. This doesn't feel right to my being. And this made sense why it doesn't feel right to my being. Um, I on the stats of this, I believe he said 38% of people have had some significant improvement of their conditions as a result. And when they get to 50%, they're going to start going to children's hospitals and start healing children in hospitals.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
So the power of this and is just so profound. And I experienced it firsthand that I didn't even receive the healing.
Something just came to mind that I had long forgotten. I I don't know what book this comes from because I literally just remember this right now. But I remember reading a long time ago inside one of these books where they said sometimes like after an incarnation, like the soul picks up like, a lot of experiences throughout this life.
Mhm.
And some of those experiences are obviously traumatic or painful or, just the heartbreaking and gut-wrenching experiences that the soul still wears and carries in whatever comes next. And I remember reading this book, and they said, there's like different planes, if you want to use that language, and there's like certain beings that would gather around the soul after the soul leaves Earth. And they will gather around in a circle around this soul and
Wow.
direct loving energy towards it.
Wow.
And that just came up right now. And it's so fascinating how the coherence healing
Yeah.
seems to be exactly that on Earth.
Yep. Yep. Wow. That is really cool. And makes complete sense to me. And um yeah, that is fascinating. And I think it just speaks to the what we just we don't know. You know, we don't know until we experience. And wow. Yeah.
Danny, what the fuck is life? Please tell me. Please tell me.
I'm trying to figure it out, man. That's by the way, I gotta say also, I believe I mentioned this before when talking about my own retreat, but I feel that these environments that are created are so much more real than the day to day that I
Mm.
experience,
Hmm.
where by the middle of this retreat, people who don't know each other are talking to people they don't know and connecting with them and asking them questions and looking in their eyes and really listening and present. And then I come out of the retreat and I'm like, oh my God, nobody is doing that.
Dude,
And it's up. I must create that. If I want that, I need to create that in this current 3D world that I'm living in. And that's heartbreaking, man. It's heartbreaking to see like what life looks like at, in my vantage point, the peak or the what it could look like with the amount of love it could look, and then to see what I see when I just go to a restaurant or just look out into the world. I'm like, fuck. So
dude. I think what you're touching upon is the part not that many people touch upon because I think you have to be really sensitive to pick up what you just said,
mm,
right? Like if you spend that much time, time is irrelevant, but whatever, if you bathe your consciousness for that long in love and then you leave the retreat and you drive 4 hours and then you go to a restaurant and you order and the waitress doesn't even look at you
yeah,
because you experience love in its infinite nature, the lack of love actually hurts you more because you're
yes,
sensitive to it now,
yes, yes,
right? So it's like
yes,
when we're just living ordinary lives, we don't even know what we have lost.
yeah,
We don't even know how precious what we have lost is until we start to rekindle. And this is more than a fucking rekindling. This is, it's like once you're fully in it, you actually experience how heartbreaking the loss is. And you can also see how this loss is so heartbreaking and so painful that the psyche will unconsciously protect people from actually going into it and will keep them distracted by whatever the world has to offer.
yeah, yeah. And you could understand why the psyche will do that.
Absolutely.
You could understand why I pull up the phone and I'm like scrolling and I'm like, holy shit.
Dude,
I see. I
dude,
see what just happened. I was blind to this a week ago.
bro, say more about going from a retreat to scrolling on social media. Say more about that. What you feel, what you sense, because I think there's so much gold
Uh,
here.
I, when 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 I'm scrolling, what I'm desiring is connection.
Mm,
And what I experience at a retreat is genuine connection, genuine, real. Look someone in the eyes, learn their story, be with them, laugh with them, have callbacks and jokes with them, see them in line at lunch and remember their name and remember the thing that they said. And then when I go on social media, I'm trying to recreate that unconsciously. I'm trying to get that same feeling of connection and that same, how are you doing? What's going on? That same feeling. And it just is so, it just fails in comparison in the deepest way. And, and so, you know, it's up to me. Like, it's up to me to create that. And when I realized I was scrolling, I went up to a woman. I just started asking. She was reading a book. I said, "What are you reading?" Tell me about it. What's going on? What are you learning about it?
Wow.
You know, and I was like, whoa, this is awesome because this it's always in my control. You can go up to any table you want at a restaurant. You can go up to anybody you want in the park. You could do whatever the fuck you want. But sometimes we get caught in the trap of thinking that, no, we can't do that. No, I can't do that. That's weird. That's not, you could do whatever you want. You could ask whatever question you want. Come from a loving heart. And as long as you're not hurting anyone, you'll be adding to the conversation quite literally. And so, yeah, the power of awareness is real, and it's easy to complain about how bad this thing is, social media scrolling. It's actually just the symptom of something, the lack of love that I'm feeling for myself in that moment, because I can feel what it was like so in such just less than 24 hours ago. I was meeting Joe Dispenza and connecting with him by putting energy into this field, and now I'm just standing in a line and I'm like, what is going on? But it's up to me to create that with that person. It's up to me to create possibilities in conversation, in people, in situations. It's up to me to create in every moment with my being so that I can bring people into it. I don't have to wait for them to go first. This is what I loved about you when you were I was talking to the homeless man and I was like, that's the coolest thing ever. I wish I could do that. I'm scared of that. That was in 2019. And there was something in me that awoken that I realized you were creating with someone who most people say in their head unconsciously, you can't create with that person.
Hmm. I love the way you put that. Also, I want to note that there is a level of conviction in your voice
Yeah.
that feels like conviction related to truly sitting in the seat of the creator.
Mm.
And I love the story you just shared from one experiencing the scrolling and realizing, what you're seeking is connection. But more importantly, what you did next was actually experience the connection that's waiting to be experienced all around you by striking up a conversation
Yeah.
with the lady reading the book. Because it feels like from the outside, it feels like your consciousness or your soul has been almost frustrated at the lack of connection in the world,
Mm.
right? And it felt like maybe the podcast was the way to achieve it, but it just didn't quite do it,
Mm.
right? Maybe Twitter and this
Mm.
following and all these people
Mm.
was a way to experience this connection, is true, but it just quite didn't do it. And then you went off social media for a while, right? It's like there was something in you that just wasn't satisfied and knew there's more to this and there's more to life, and this isn't fucking it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's well said, man. It's very true. And I'm really I'm really inspired by Joe in this way. I can feel I can feel how much he values connection. I can feel how much he values the truth that he experiences. And I can feel how convicted he is in understanding it more and how precise he is. I There was one moment where he said 26% on a study, and it was actually 20%. And he just corrected himself with that. And I was like,
Mm.
whoa, wow. That is that's an area I would love to improve. Is just be precise with your words. Your words matter. And so, yeah, I'm learning a lot. I'm grateful that I really am so grateful that you are here to witness this journey and been there since the beginning of this epoch for myself. And I'm so touched by your presence, man. Thank you.
Bro, you know the saying, live 1,001 lives in like single life? Bro, I think you've done that in the last 6 years.
It's felt that way for sure. It is felt that way for sure. Oh,
And it's also so cool to see like the teachers you found along the way, right? Like
yeah.
Wayne Dyer and
Hmm.
Hawkins and Joe Dispenza. And it's like the progression and also what this is all leading to
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
very interesting to just sense into. And it's like completely unknown, but on some level it is known.
Mm.
At least that's how I feel. Like
Hmm. Hmm.
sense. Just like, you know, the Danny that was writing I love myself a
Mm.
hundred times per
Mm.
day. Dude, who the fuck would do that?
I gotta get back to that. I'm down to get back to that.
I remember when you posted that and people were like commenting, like, okay, like, so, like, how does this work? Like, you do it 100 times and like every day, and you've been doing it for how many days? Right? It's like, because, like, I
Forgot
would
about that.
imagine, like, after, like, you know, writing it out like 50 times, that you completely become, it's like the writing and the love and everything becomes one and the same after doing that for so long. But it's like most people they probably tried it for a day, right? But like you posted on Twitter. Even I was like, man, this is even Kamal Ravikant was like, bro, this is all you. Like this is your edition, right? Just writing it down 100 times per day. I remember one tweet, you're like, oh, thanks, Kamal. He's like, bro, no, this is all you, right? So like to really
Uh,
speak into
mm,
like I don't like the word versions, right? Because
mm,
I don't really think there's like versions of us.
mm.
But if we're gonna use that language, like how that version of Danny was so fucking tapped in, right? Even
Yeah,
though like
yeah.
the whole world externally was not really, you know, reflecting like any of that back or confirming it.
Mm.
And now it feels like it's really interesting what you said like 2 pods ago. Sorry, last pod, when you were like, yo, it feels like when I came to this retreat, I came home.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
Dude,
it's
that
also interesting how the tagline for this podcast,
yeah. Conversations that bring you home. That was one thing that came up. So when I when I was doing the third day that I was that we did the coherence healing, I took it super seriously, as seriously as I took it the first day. And I was meditating in a similar spot to the session that I did the first day. And I started going through all of my friends and listing them off and feeling their healing presence in my life and being so grateful for the healers in my life. And dude, you came up, you were like, it was like, wow, like Tej is a healer and he's helped me so much. And I had a list of 10 people. And I was like, wow. You know, one woman asked me, she said, how are people in your day-to-day life how are you gonna explain this experience? And I was like, oh, they're gonna get so pumped. They're so excited to break this experience down. They'll ask questions, they'll go deep on it. But you know, most people I would imagine at this retreat, I can't say for sure, but I would imagine that that is a rare experience
Yeah.
where you're really seen for the experience you had. And that feels so good, man. And so uh, as I'm thinking about all the people healing and their presence on me and all my friends now who can hold this amount of love and this experience and be with this, I was thinking about all the moments in my life leading up to it and thinking about, oh my God, when I realized the power of the internet when I was 12, I was actually connecting to the power of love because
Mm.
the internet connects people. And what connects people is love. And I just start bawling, crying as I'm getting ready to do the coherence
Wow.
healing. All these people just around, and I'm just bawling, feeling the power of love and feeling I've always known. I've always known. And all the moments leading up to it are all about that power of love and feeling that. And so, yeah, man, one, it was a massive appreciation for the people in my life and the friends and the just all the people who the first day was all about the family of healers that I come from and that I feel connected to, but the third day was all about my friends and all these people who are so amazing and yeah, and then just seeing my own progression through it and feeling always a little bit different. Why do I feel, what is going on here? So yeah, man,
Dude,
thank you, thank you.
dude, two things. One, it's like it was the power of love at 13 that made you say, "Yo, fuck it, I can go up against the New York Times."
That was nine.
Dude,
Who's counting?
I
Oh.
like the precision, Danny. I like the precision.
Thank you.
And then also, I think the point that you just made is so underrated, meaning so I think once you experience something like this, it's like especially as kids, there's like something called mirroring, right?
Mm,
And it's like a kid learns to know himself or herself through whatever is mirrored back to him or her as a
mhm,
very young kid, right? So as a kid, they're naturally in touch with a lot of love, right? But how much love the kid can actually hold on to is entirely reflective of how much love the parents can mirror back to the kid,
mm,
right? And since
mhm,
our true nature is infinite love, but most of our parents, to no fault of our parents, they don't have access to infinite love,
yep.
right? It's like, most of us are living a conditioned life with problems and stressors and worries and bills and mortgages and the whole nine. So, as a kid, we're in touch with this infinite ocean of love, and that's why like every kid, regardless of race or where they grow up in the world, experiences this love, and kids are seen as very precious and very loving beings. But then as the kid learns to define himself through this mirroring principle by basing who he or she is based on whatever is reflected back to them, we slowly start to lose touch with this love and this infinite nature of love because it's not reflected back to us from our environment. And especially as kids, we need that mirroring, right? But since
Hmm.
majority of our parents, aren't obviously enlightened beings or whatever, it doesn't happen. So after coming to a retreat like this, I think like the same rules almost apply because they'll tell you a story and it's a Joe Dispenza story. So my friend that I was telling you about, he got a lot of his friends to go to Joe Dispenza after what he experienced. And so we have like a mutual friend, but I don't see him often, but I did hear the story. So his mutual friend goes to Joe Dispenza retreat, right?
I'm so
And
excited for this, by the way.
and it really speaks to what you just expressed and it just like came up live and it's spontaneous, so he goes
They
to Joe
always are.
he goes to this is a fire pod, by the way, dude. This is
I agree. I can't wait to listen to this one back.
this is like literally like there's no difference between this and if you just called me to tell me the
Correct.
story, which is
100%.
exactly what I love about this,
100%.
right? So my friend's friend, he goes to Joe Dispenza's retreat, and he goes for the 7 days. I think it was in Cancun. What I hear is Cancun is the best place for these retreats, but
Wow.
that's a side note. And then he goes to this retreat, and funny enough, he had a lot of allergies,
Uh-huh.
right? And like he was allergic to like a lot of different things, like I think since a kid, right? Like his diet is like basically like the most simplest things that you can eat because like anything else, like he's like allergic to, right? So he has all these allergies, and I don't know if he's like thinking about like healing these allergies or if he's just like, enjoying the retreat. But by whatever day on the retreat, he realizes, like, it came to him that he's no longer allergic,
Wow.
right? There was like no like experience or like nothing happened. It just came to him, right? Like, you were allergic before, but now you're no longer allergic. And like his reactions, from what I understand, used to be pretty bad. Like if he ate the wrong thing, like he's probably gonna have to go to the hospital, right?
Hmm.
So he has this like realization, and this it's like a level of knowing, a level of conviction that like, this story or this experience of being allergic is no longer you. It's like almost like describing somebody else, right?
Okay.
So he goes to, I've never been to a retreat, but I assume whatever is like the cafeteria area.
Yep.
And he starts eating the foods that he was previously allergic to. No reaction. Body handles it,
Wow.
right? And then he continues. And I think like this happened like probably the midpoint of the retreat, right? So let's say 7 days, maybe around day three,
Okay.
he had this insight or this realization. So he continues eating without any restrictions. Nothing happens. Everything is good. No issues, no problems. The allergies are fully gone, right? Then he comes back to Canada
Yep.
and he continues eating in this manner, and the allergies are gone, like
Okay.
for real. They
Wow.
don't come back, they're gone, right? But then what starts to happen is as he comes back to Canada, he's the only one in his orbit that is hip to this
Mm.
world,
Mm.
right? So in the beginning, and this is just my understanding from the outside, I don't know obviously what's going on in the day to day, but from my understanding, one reason he was drawn towards the retreat like this is because he felt very alone in his regular life and like nobody else was getting it.
Hmm.
Right. So then he goes to this retreat, he experiences this, he's blown away, and then he comes back, and slowly but surely,
Wow.
like the old world starts pulling him back in,
Fuck.
right? To the point, bro, that he even starts doubting, did that even happen?
Oh my God.
Did that even happen? Was that even real?
Oh my God.
Right? So like it really speaks to, and to conclude that story, so he goes deeper and deeper, he starts falling into doubt, and then guess what? He becomes
That just
allergic
comes
again.
back. Holy shit.
Right? But then here's the next kicker. He goes to another Joe Dispenza retreat. The allergies go away again.
No way.
Yes. Yes, way.
Oh my God.
Right? So the allergies go away again. And then that time he recognized the power of community. So I think from then on, what they started doing is even after the retreat was over, I
Yeah.
think they created like a mini WhatsApp group or whatever, and they like meet like every Monday to kind of hone in on this and stay in this coherent way of being. And I think the reason I bring that up is because I think it's such a blessing to have the real mirrored back to you.
Mm.
Because then it's like, oh, like this is actually what's real. The old shit is what's fucking bullshit. Right? So when you come back from a retreat like this and you share this experience, I think it really amplifies it and it actually roots you in what is real reality.
Wow. What a powerful story. And I would love to speak to him today about it and how he looks at all of that, all of the things that he's been through. Um, Wow. So one of my friends created in 2024, she went to a retreat. And at the end of it, and she was like, I got to create a WhatsApp group with a couple other people from the retreat so I can do I have to do this every day. I'm going to do this every day. And it's going to and having that accountability is going to keep me going. That was like a year and a half ago. I think the WhatsApp group has 900 people in it, and she hasn't done any marketing. And
Dude.
it's just grown because I would imagine, pours into it and she does it every day. And now other people are doing it every day in a set time and the whole thing. And it's, man, just people. It goes back to connection. It goes back to the power of that. And I was saying about how could I miss a day? How could I miss a day of doing a meditation now? Like how, I mean, I hadn't missed a day of meditation I 6 months. But after that, how could I miss a day of Joe Dispenza? Like how? So
I, I'm curious, out of I know you do a variety of different meditations, walking ones, sitting ones, but also like different types of meditations. Which meditation were you the most drawn towards?
the coherence healing was the greatest meditation. But other than that, I would say the ones linking the heart and the brain. And there's just this feeling that I get that is just so powerful when the brain and the heart are in coherence that I sometimes experience in meditation, but not every single time to the level and degree
Mm.
that I do when I do one of those meditations. Um, we did we did different meditations on. We did one on abundance. We did one on like one theme of the day. There were like themes of the day. One was abundance. One was electric body, like your electric body. So think about like your aura or your field. Um, Another theme of the day was like being a mystic. And so
Mm.
some of the meditations were on creating the mystical. Um, so yeah, there were all sorts of different ones. And I didn't realize as well that he was a hypnotherapist, that he mentioned that on the first day or the second day about how he was a hypnotherapist or hypnotist to be precise, in college. And it's just so fascinating, man, to see all of his skills come together. Um, just felt super honored to witness this person be in their element and do what they do so well. It's either the 68th or 68th event that
Wow.
that they've put together. And it is a machine. Like it is incredible.
That's what I hear, yeah.
It's
Dude,
incredible.
it's incredible to see and hear how the scalability of this, right?
Yeah.
Like how many people it's actually touched, because normally you hear about people that are like, like really tapped in and they're like in like some remote place or like in a basement somewhere and like two people that found them through like a referral,
Totally.
right?
Totally.
And it's like, that kind of thing, but like this is like very special and very scalable. I think that also, the love and the connection. And I think for you to actually see the scalability of it
Mm.
seems to have unlocked something.
Mm. Yeah. I really respect what he's done. I really do. And um, it's shown a mirror to like to where I can I can learn from and where I can uh, take from and just use all of his resources and devote myself to this because as well as anyone when I get
Oh yeah,
fixated on
dude, it's
something,
game over now,
it's
bro.
game over.
I already know what's gonna happen, bro.
When I get fixated on my own problems, it's also game over, just in the wrong direction.
Ooh, that's a very good insight. Wow. That's incredible insight.
Uh, So, yeah, I mean, I was listening to podcasts before I was doing meditations. I just will not, I will not let this drop. Like I'm forever changed from this.
Wow. I love the conviction and how
Yeah.
definite that is.
Yeah. I know what to do. It's all in my control. Um, but when you hear all this, what do you kind of think? What do you just about the retreats in general and my experience, what's your vantage point on it?
Dude, I've had the fattest smile on my face for the entire podcast. Hmm. For me, the reason it makes me so happy is because it makes me so happy. I love how I said it makes me so happy, and the ice cream man is driving down the street right now, and he's playing the ice cream truck songs.
Wow, I
And I
can't hear.
remember a time when that used to make me so happy.
Wow. Wow.
So the magical nature of life once again
Beautiful.
at it.
Beautiful.
But the reason it makes me so happy is because I think like what you experienced in the retreat is like the future of the world.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I always sense that, we always sense like what you were saying, like with the doctors, and like no knock to doctors. Like,
Facts.
my sister's a doctor, my sister-in-law is a doctor, so a lot of doctors around these parks. But even like to my sister, I would say things like, yo, like this is fucking bullshit.
Hmm.
Right. And like we would have like conversations about it. And, I was like, doctors that go into medicine are very caring. They want to help. And like I would hear stories of my sister sharing how through the rigorous process, how like the empathy almost gets stripped out of you.
Yep. Yep. That's all
Right.
that I've thought about that so many times.
Right. So it's like the thing that actually heals is the loving kindness, but it gets stripped out of you.
Holy shit.
So,
Holy,
which
I've never thought about it like that.
which
Wow.
alone is pretty interesting to realize. So it's like, my like let's just say the interesting side of my brain. It's like, so what's the play here? Is the play to actually heal or is the play to keep people sick?
Right. And
Right?
this is the th how you are getting sick in your study of this thing.
Exactly.
How is that sickness that you feel
Exactly.
supposed to create health?
Exactly. Right? So, yeah, but like when I hear like you sharing this story, it just feels like for so long I felt like the invisible world, which is the real world with a capital R that is
Mm,
made up of love, was so invisible.
mm,
And only like a few people could sense it. And the people that sensed it always stayed quiet because if they spoke up, it meant death or isolation from the village or the tribe.
mm,
Right.
mhm.
But what's so exciting about today and just where we are as a collective is it feels like the invisible is becoming visible
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
each and every day. And the glory of God
Mm,
is fully shining through, and people are actually receptive and open to it. And that alone, I feel like, is going to give rise to a world and to a life that we can't even fathom right now.
so true. And I don't know, I can't remember if I mentioned this on the last pod that we did, but at one point Joe was talking about nobody, nowhere, no thing, and then everybody, everywhere, everything. And he was going on all the names that this could be called the unifying field of love, pure consciousness, awareness. And it's so many names for this. this thing. And then, 10 minutes go by and he accidentally says the word God. And he's like, and I just felt my body in that moment. Obviously, it's a project. I felt so light and so happy and just so grateful that we were just saying the truth of what this is.
Yeah.
And and I believe that he doesn't use the word. I can't speak to why he doesn't use the word, but I believe it's because so people are who have a negative connotation with the word don't put up a shield.
Right.
Um, and he's like, I said God, big deal, and then just moved on to like the next thing. But it was clear that it wasn't part of what he was supposed to say. And I was I was cheesing ear to ear. I was like, yes, let's bring God into it. I started
Yeah.
clapping.
Dude, 100% because like even like throughout these conversations, even on like my end, like I find myself like tiptoeing around it too, right? It's like,
Interesting.
oh, like God consciousness, use whatever word you want, right? It's almost like this disclaimer,
Yeah.
right? But it's
Yeah.
like, no, let's call a spade a spade. Like,
Right. Dude, it was so funny. I was talking to the guy sitting next to me after the first coherence healing, and I was like, and he was a reserve guy. It's so cool the amount of people, the difference of the people that come to these things. Yeah, and he was like, that wasn't what I experienced in that first coherence healing. That love, it was love, but love isn't the word for it. It was bigger than love. And you
wow.
you know the word that I'm thinking of. And
Wow.
I wanted so deeply to go into about God and all that, but then as soon as he said that, then Joe started talking again to end our conversation. But I was like, wow, the fact that
Dude.
even he wants to say God but doesn't feel comfortable to in this space is so interesting to me. Because I think
Dude.
that's the opposite side of it is like by not acknowledging the power of God and the connection of God, you're not giving room for the truth to come out. And it might turn some people away, but ultimately that I don't know. It's my own perception in this moment in time, and he does a phenomenal job. But if he just put the word God on that list, I just would have appreciated it as one independent of the 1800 observers.
Mm.
And also the other side of this is I don't know if I would have appreciated it in 2019 if someone dragged me to this event.
Right. Right.
So it's like, what is the right thing? But the thing is, that is interesting is he slipped and said the word God, which speaks to that his perception is that that field of everything, everyone, everybody, and no one, nobody, no thing is God. That's his perception based on his slip of the tongue. And so if he's truly owning the truth, Joe, if you're listening, let's use some God.
I'll clap to that. I'll hit him with the Danny Miranda clap to that.
So, um, yeah, that's really interesting.
The
That
way that I also perceive it, it's like God made him
mm,
say God, even when he wasn't intending to say God.
wow, wow. That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
God
That's
was like
true.
Birdman. He was like, put some respect on my name.
Dude, the things that people see in these coherence healings blew me away. Multiple people saw beings of light
Yeah.
above people. Other people saw
Yeah.
animals that were like infusing the space. Multiple other people felt the ground was shaking beneath the feet.
Yeah.
Um, Other people saw the healing happen. Then after the healing, saw beings like dancing after it was over.
Bro.
I mean,
Dude, 1000%. I remember Diamond Approach teacher saying one time she went to a children's hospital
mm,
and there were obviously, I think it was the cancer ward of the hospital.
mhm,
So there was a lot of young kids battling cancer or, towards the later stages of it. And as she walked into the hospital ward, she saw green beings. And green is like, a common color for compassion
Hmm.
and loving kindness surrounding these young kids.
Wow.
And you can say, like, conducting spiritual surgery.
Wow.
So, the reason, when we were talking about implications earlier,
Mm.
right? Like, even if we, like, fully, at least for me, like, sometimes when things like this happen, it's like, I don't fully turn towards it and look it directly in the eye because the implications would completely destroy what people told me reality is.
Yeah. And then it's almost like a heartbreak for the
Exactly.
fact that you didn't tell me the truth.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
then it's like, yo, like, it's like, people talk about like finding out the tooth fairy isn't real. This is the fucking opposite.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, you told me God wasn't real?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
told me like this world is completely different from what it actually is, what's
Yeah.
actually deeper and what's actually truer.
Mm.
But I think the implications of even, like I always thought, like when the topic of like aliens or whatever comes up, it's like for me, it always felt like aliens aren't out there. It's like between dimensions, there's different beings,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
And you can like, I think there's loving beings on this earth that if you fine tune your awareness, you can start to actually see.
Mm.
And I think they do a lot of light work.
Yeah. Have you had any experience with beings like that?
I've had experiences on both ends of
Wow.
the spectrum, right? So I've had experiences with just like I think I don't believe in good and evil. I think it's all good,
Mm.
right? But I think
Well done.
right? But I think there's like I think that like that big idea there's good and there's evil is I don't jive with it. It was
Yeah.
an idea that I could never digest,
Me too. Me too.
right? It's like something I always wanted to throw that back up, not take it in fully. And I experienced like just how good our ultimate nature is and how there's no other. So like after experiencing that, it completely erased this whole good versus evil, all this talk regarding that. But with that stated, I will say that I do think there's different beings that are alive that have access to different degrees of love,
Mm. Hmm.
right? I
For
think there's
sure.
beings that have access to a lot of love and they're open and the love of the creator can flow fully through them.
Hmm.
And those beings, similarly to how you forgot about yourself and directed all that love towards the person who was asking for healing, I think those beings naturally take on that role and, provide the best possible service for humanity. And then I also think there's other beings that aren't in touch with that much love
Yep.
that are also present, right? And those beings may feed off of other types of energy, other types of emotions to sustain themselves,
Hmm.
right? Like fear or anxiety or anger or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And I think both are real, and I've experienced both personally.
Yeah.
And for me, what's interesting is like even like talking about this,
Yeah.
it's like the reason I love the implications of everything that we're talking about, it's because it's like, oh shit, now we can actually start having real fucking conversations. Right? It's like, let's put all the cards on the table and see what the fuck is actually up here.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that I can share about that, but I'm just happy to start bringing the cards to the table.
Fair enough. Um, yeah, I think that there, I was imagining when you were just speaking about what the same room would have felt like and what people would have seen if the directive for 2,000 people in that room was focus on your most fearful thought,
Right, right,
right?
right.
In a meditative
100%.
state. Like that would probably be a traumatic experience.
100%. Dude,
And
yeah.
go ahead. Go ahead.
No, like the power of like I truly think that there's no like the force, the power behind our attention is so underrated,
Yes. And our
right?
thought, our thought
Yeah,
alone.
exactly. It's like so underrated. And like if you look into the world, you realize like people used to talk there was like a spiritual war and there's like a battle for your soul and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I think it's really just a battle for your attention. And if you look at the
Mm.
modern world, you realize that everybody is just trying to take your attention. If they take your attention, they quite literally take you,
Yeah.
right? So I think just like what you're sharing, shifting the focus of attention. Like if the theme was focus on your greatest fear, people would be hallucinating, seeing things, seeing
Yep.
whatever
Yep.
the fuck is here. They would start seeing all sorts of different types of things
Yep.
and experiencing all sorts of breakdowns instead of breakthroughs,
Yep.
right? But what also I find interesting is bullshit melts away in the presence of truth,
That's what I was going to come back to.
right?
Yeah. And that
So
speaks to your good versus evil. It's like, yeah, evil is just
exactly,
incoherence.
exactly,
That when it becomes
exactly,
coherent, no longer becomes evil.
exactly. Nailed it. So well said. Killed it. 10 out of 10. Let's fucking go. Right? Like
Yeah.
good versus evil implies that the evil actually has some ground to stand on.
Right.
It can
Right.
actually, it's a worthy opponent to love.
Right.
That's what it implies. But in the presence of love,
Melts
biggest
away.
coward melts away.
Yeah.
It's actually craving love, which is why it's even existing in that state. And the moment it
Correct.
gets it can't survive.
Yeah. Yeah. It's powerful. It's a powerful concept because if you really, if you stop and think about any of your states of fear, anger, frustration, grief, sadness, what in truly, if you truly are met in the presence of love in that moment, you just melt away. All that just melts. It just goes. And so evil can be expressed as anger. Evil can be expressed as pain. But in reality, you just give it some love, and your foot will turn around. It'll go in a different direction.
Dude, literally the foot will turn around. Bro, dude, like how like when you experience change on a physical level, sometimes
Yeah.
people try to discount the physical, but I think the physical is like if you experience change on the physical level, it's witnessing magic, quite
Yes.
literally.
Well, that's how I felt when I lifted weights for the first time.
Say
I
more.
well, I remember spending uh, a year in the gym, senior year of high school, and then I forgot about the gym for uh, 3 years or 4 years, and then my senior year of college or super senior year, I said, okay, this summer I'm actually going to hit the gym and I'm actually going to attack it, and I transformed my body so quickly, and it might have been the first time, my senior year of high school, where I said to myself, "Oh, I had thought, and that thought created actual change in my body where I look different now."
Mm,
And that difference means that I actually created a change. And then, you know, if you're 140 pounds, which I was, and then you go to 160 pounds, you interact with the world differently, and the world interacts with you differently.
mm.
And that is an interesting idea of, wow, okay, the world is now shifting because I had a thought and was consistent in applying it. And so this must mean something. And so for me, seeing change in the physical, I couldn't have seen change in, I couldn't have thought about spiritual change before physical change. It just wouldn't, I wouldn't have gone in
Right,
with, I couldn't,
right.
I didn't meditate before I moved my body and fixed my body and changed it into the way that I wanted to. I needed to do the body first because the body to me was the realness that I could see. And that was real. The body was real at first. So, um, yeah, man, I think changing the physical is very important. And actually, and I think for me, it validated this whole experience in a deeper, truer, more profound way. Because I said, oh, this actually shifted my body, and the way that I walk is not the same. Like, that is not something that I thought was possible before. That was not something I wanted healing on before. I was, this is just my foot. This is just the way it is. This is just my back. This is just the pain that I have. I'm not, I can't heal this, or I could maybe if I tried and focused consistent effort, but also this is the room that was, and so the power of this room and the power of this collective field, holy shit. So
Dude.
yeah, it made it very real, the experience.
This is just like the my crazy brain talking, so
Let's
ignore
go.
if
No,
irrelevant.
we're not going to ignore. We're going to accept your crazy brain because you're great.
But like what my crazy brain is thinking about is the deeper meaning behind your feet actually aligning.
Tell me.
It's like I feel like there's something there regarding you actually have found your feet and found your path. And
Yeah.
now you can walk it with both feet pointed at the same direction.
Yep. It's exactly what I told my mom. It's exactly what I said. Oh, I'm going in the correct
Mm.
direction. I'm walking straight finally.
And to bring in the Danny pre-retreat who was feeling frustrated,
Hmm.
who was feeling like maybe things aren't actualizing as, he may have envisioned. Things may be slightly off,
Mm.
as
Mm.
symbolized by the foot,
Mm.
just slightly missing the mark.
Yep.
Slightly, 90% is in this area, but this 10% keeps calling.
Yep.
100%, baby.
Yeah, I feel that. I really do on a deep, deep level. And you just and he said this. He's like, people have healings and they say, I thought it was possible, but I never thought it was possible for me.
For me,
Yeah.
dude,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah. And how much of what we take as this is just the way things are actually things that can be changed, are actually
Mm.
that ways in which we can grow, are actually things that can be healed and transformed. How much of our life that we assume is just normal, is to always be this way,
Damn.
could actually not. The next thing
Right.
that came to my mind was my vision, right? I wear glasses to drive. I'm
Yeah,
like, what? Oh, could that be healed?
dude, dude. Because, like, on some level,
Yep.
there's like a collective belief,
Yep.
right? It's like we just assume, oh, like I have glasses too. So it's like we just assume, like, yo, like, you're just kind of like stuck with it unless you get like eye surgery or whatever, right? But like even the questioning. I loved when I asked you, what impact does this have for you going forward? And you said it makes you more curious.
Yep.
And the way that I took that was like, we're sold these beliefs that things are what they are. And the moment we bring some light-hearted curiosity and questioning towards these things, whatever is bullshit will fall away and melt.
Mhm.
So it feels like I love what you're bringing in because it's like, what in our life are we simply tolerating because we've experienced it for so long that we just think it's normal? When
Yep.
is it actually normal?
Yeah. And my perception is that the older you get, the more things that you accept. It's just, this is the way it is.
Right.
And he said on the stage, "Oh, people have healed from blindness, and people have who couldn't hear have started to hear after these coherence healings." And I'm like, I believe you 100%. At this point in my life, I fully 100% believe you. But never did it cross my mind that my eyesight was
Right.
in some way
Right.
not perfect and it could be.
Right.
Which is just a fascinating thing about the human condition. Just my own personal perception. Maybe other people are different. So,
Dude.
yeah, the field of coherence is really
Yeah.
just such a powerful concept.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you on that note, I think for myself and also the listeners, I think based on your experience, right? Your individual experience, what are some of I think we all know the obvious signs, like the big signs
Yeah.
when we're like, like out of coherence compared to like when we're, more coherent. But what I'm curious about is what are some of the subtle signs you notice in yourself
Mm.
when you're slightly out of coherence compared to when you're more rooted in coherence?
Yeah. It's a great question. The subtle signs for me show up as, and it'll probably be different for every person, but for me, it's a lack of engagement with the world. It's more engagement with more engagement, more consumption than creation, more engagement with entertainment than with creation. Um, like a listlessness. But I would say that the something that really matters is this feeling in my brain and my heart that just when it flows, it it feels so beautiful and I can feel even on the moment to moment of how different it feels in the positive direction. But I think it's a skill like anything else. And that the more you practice it, the more you practice getting incoherence. And I think, doing his meditations is wonderful, but one of the simplest ways is just to breathe for 6 seconds in and 6 seconds out and imagine your heart making a circle from your heart to the back of your brain and then on the inhale and then on the exhale just going from the brain back to the heart and just repeating that. Um, but to answer your question, it's it's this it's this lack of engagement with life,
Mm,
and it's this retreat, not in the sense of a retreat that makes you feel
right.
light, but this retreat
Right.
that almost points to
Whoa.
like feeling scared and
Dude.
feeling like a lack of belief. in myself. That's how it shows up for me.
Beautifully said. Also, shout out to the Coherence breathing app.
Right. Which it
Dude,
was,
perfect name for it too.
dude, it's crazy because um after this happened, the after I noticed at 3:45 in the morning that my feet were going straight. And after that, dude, so to give you a rundown of that specific day,
Hmm.
I'm literally crying in my seat, haven't told a soul this, that my feet are straight.
Dude.
And we're about to start a meditation that I don't know how long it's going to be. It ends up being a 5 hour meditation.
Oh,
And I was in no state to do that. You know, when you have like some unprocessed thing in your
yeah.
system?
Yeah.
And so I really felt for people. I mean, to be honest, I thought the meditation was like 3 hours long. In actuality, it was 5 hours. I was like, dude, when is this is gonna end at some point, right? And I was like, wow, I don't usually think that during meditations. So it must be a really long one, like 3 hours. And it ended up being
Bro,
five.
briefly,
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
remember what we were saying last pod? How, like, when something groundbreaking happens, space to marinate. And here you got 5 hours to marinate in this remarkable transformation before
Yeah,
sharing the goodness of it.
that's true. I did not think of that. Wow,
So
that is so
continue.
true.
Continue.
That is so true. Life was really just like sit on this, be with this. But it was
Literally sit on this.
but it was difficult because it wasn't it wasn't actual space, meaning it was a guided meditation.
Mm.
It was focusing my awareness on a place that I wasn't fully wanting to focus on because I
Fair.
would, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it wasn't in
Yeah.
the same way.
Yeah. Fair.
But anyway, the meditation ended and I was like, and then we got a break after. And I gotta call and tell Nick Sweeney about this. And I had a call from Nick Sweeney during the meditation call.
Wow.
And the reason why is because Nick, he his foot, um, he had he broke his foot or he couldn't. His, he had to heal his foot, and he ended up healing his right foot as well through Joe Dispenza. And I didn't realize it was fully from Joe Dispenza,
Oh,
but
it was through Joe Dispenza?
it was part Wim Hof, part Joe Dispenza. Um, and it was just really cool. But during the meditation, I had a conversation with my higher self that I absolutely forgot about what my higher self said to me, but it was like a back and forth. And I was like, how will I know that this is true? Like what you're telling me right now? Because it just I was asking for validation and it was like just you'll get a diamond. Like you'll see a diamond. It's like, okay, great. I trust that. I haven't seen I was like trying to think of the last time I saw a diamond and I just
Yeah.
couldn't. I'm talking to Nick and I'm telling him about the healing and everything that's happened. He tells me about his life. And I don't know what compelled him, but he mentioned he said, it's a diamond of light that's in your body and expands. And I'm
Mm,
like, are you kidding me? This is literally the sign from my higher self. What is going on right now?
mm.
So I bring Nick Sweeney up because you mentioned coherence. He said in that conversation that four people that on that day he reached out to Joe Dispenza. He didn't even realize I was at the retreat. Um, four people mentioned to him about Joe Dispenza, and he was like, okay, okay, this is time.
Wow.
Nick's app, Nick and Jack's app, Nick Sweeney, Jack Sweeney, their app is called Coherence. This healing that happens is coherence healing. It is quite remarkable how these names come together and how connected these things are.
Dude. I remember seeing that tweet on Twitter. He posted, he's like, does anybody have the connect to Joe Dispenza?
It
Now to
doesn't this
hear more of the backstory, dude. Incredible.
I think he tweeted that before the conversation.
Wow.
So here I am telling him this story of healing, and he's like, "Dude, I tweeted earlier today about connecting with Joe Dispenza. This makes me just want to connect with him even more."
Bro.
So, ooh,
Dude.
yeah,
What a life.
what a
We
life.
say that every pod, but this is
Whoa.
like a whole new level
I
of
mean, yeah, it is. It is the power of connecting to the field of love. That's what
mm,
this is all about. Like truly, deeply allowing yourself to. And one other thing about Joe that I feel like you might get on board with, and that feels very connected to your work as well, and what how you write, is he's very intentional about not focusing on the familiar past and story that the person has for why they're stuck.
mm.
And and I just think there's so much power in that. I don't know why exactly I just brought that up in this moment, but it feels like a significant part of it. He's always visualize, imagine being in that life, visualize the feeling, draw it to you, focus on the connection of the heart and the brain, and not what was your allergy like? Where did it get created?
Right.
Why did it happen?
Right.
You know? It's like it doesn't even matter. So feel there's some significance to that and some power in that. And as beautiful as my analytical mind is in trying to understand things and why they are and the meaning behind it and the story, and it is fun for me a lot of the times, it's also irrelevant in some cases.
Hmm.
Because, the story of I think I told the story of his daughter the last time about how she created a unlimited shopping spree for herself. If you could just think about that from her perspective of, let's say, a coherent field for her was creating an unlimited shopping spree. Uh, the incoherence could be, I have not created an unlimited shopping spree before. And so, therefore, what is wrong with me?
Mm.
Why have I not done that? Am I not pretty enough? Am I not smart enough? Am I not? Where did it start for me? The story of not being pretty enough. That must have been why I don't have this unlimited shopping spree. And all of a sudden, then boom, you're in the story of what you don't want,
Right.
and it happens so quickly.
Right.
And all the reasons could make sense, but it doesn't help you get what you actually desire. Does that make sense?
100%. Absolutely. 100%. And it feels like I think like how told to change our lives or change our circumstances is like almost this is why I really liked stuff like reality transurfing, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
It's like instead of going along with the script that you're handed, just create a new script.
Mm.
Right. And it's like everybody tries to like get to the new script by working with the current script.
Mm.
Right. But it's like, yo, you're creating this current script. So just drop it and create the one that you actually want.
Yeah.
And I think like even the implication of that, right? Like people
Yep.
hear it and like
Yep.
I hear it, I read it
Yep.
numerous times, I
Yep.
practiced it. But
Yeah.
like, you know how normally we're told that like I think the discipline it takes to actually apply that
Yeah.
is a level of discipline that I think, speak for myself, it's like, it takes real discipline and it takes like full wakefulness
Dude,
to
it
actually apply that.
chills throughout my body. I was listening to Joe on a podcast. Probably will be my new favorite line. And he said that he had a crippling back injury in his 20s. This is how he stumbled upon all this stuff. And he couldn't move. And he said he was just going to focus on every single thought. Every single, and if he thought, uh, oh my God, am I going to be in a wheelchair for the rest of my life? He restarted and he caught himself. And that was actually the win. But he said he did that and nothing else for 6.5 weeks.
Wow,
And after 10.5 weeks, he was healed.
oof, dude.
So imagine for 45 days, every single moment. And it's interesting because Clean Your Inner World is 45 days.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought about.
That's so interesting. I just thought of that. Wow. For 45 days, every single thought that you have, it's like, do I have that discipline? I know I have that discipline inside of me. I am not executing on that level of discipline right now.
Mm,
And so, what an inspiration that is. Where everybody's recommending surgery, everybody's recommend, and he said, "No, I'm going to become a whole new body. I'm going
mm,
to track every single thought." That is worth
dude.
studying. That is worth learning.
And it's like I can't think of like anything that's like more higher ROI,
Right.
right? But it's like, and I think this is where, at least for me, the value of meditation is really important
Yeah.
because the current life, the current story, the current script is constantly trying to pull you towards it and into it,
Mm,
right? And I think this is like the force of our conditioning, the call of the past,
mm.
right? So I think the more wakefulness we can generate, the more we can turn life from something that we sleepwalk through to more of a lucid dream. Lucid living is like what I try to call it, or what I call it. And I think it requires like before you can even change your thoughts, you need to become aware of your thoughts.
Yeah.
And before you can become aware of your thoughts, you need to become aware, period.
Mm,
Right? So it's like everything comes together. So I think like on the ground floor, the foundational thing is to actually increase awareness, to actually increase wakefulness in ordinary life, because then you can catch yourself. And I think like the Joe Dispenza 45-day thing is like remarkable. And like that's like I would say like some Olympic level shit.
I would say
Right?
so. Yeah, for
Right?
sure.
Like hands down, some Olympic level shit. And it makes sense. Like he quite literally couldn't do anything else, right? So it's like
Yes.
devoting full power and focus towards that. But I think, and this is true for my own life, because like this is something that I practiced and applied when I was like starting university. My focus was I'm not gonna come anywhere close to 100% because at that time, especially, like, dude, I was like 99.99% asleep, right? I was like, I just want to create one thought that I would previously go along with. I just want to change that direction. And if I do that, then it's a win. And by doing just that alone every single day, the compounding effect of that completely changed the trajectory of my life. I went
Yeah.
from thinking I was going to go into accounting to building online businesses, thinking I was going to do X to doing Y, thinking I was subjected to just coloring inside the lines and living the life that I was living to a completely different reality. So, like, if we can just do all that with just changing a few thoughts,
Yes.
imagine what can happen if we have the thought, hey, I wore glasses for, since I was like in elementary school. What if I can actually change this?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's such a great point because the intensity, Joe has a level of discipline and intensity that is aspirational to the current character that I have. The man was doing 3 hours of yoga a day. He was And the way that he showed up at 6 in the morning on the first day, I'm like, how the fuck is he doing this? It is incredible to witness. And it can be intimidating for some people who are just listening. And I can't do that. Are you kidding me? And so, what you mentioned is so important. And it's why, with my grandma, we set up one loving thought
Mm.
where if you're in that spiral, just give me one loving thought. And when you do one
Incredible.
loving thought, that is approachable and that's easy. And then just do one loving thought again and
Incredible.
again and again and again until you're at a
Dude, I just
retreat.
got chills. I just
Yeah.
got chills.
That's
It's
it
like
has to start there. That's what he was doing.
100%.
He was doing one
100%.
loving thought over and over again.
Dude, 100%. And
It
it's like,
just seems like an Olympic level shit
right, exactly.
after stringing them all
Exactly.
together.
Dude, love is just one loving thought away. How fucking
Yeah.
amazing is that?
Yes. Always. 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 In all ways,
I love
love is
it,
just one loving thought away. And it's so important to remember. So, yeah, man.
bro.
Yeah.
Boy, did you tell us a story.
Yeah.
Right, right when you said at the jump. So, Tej, you want to hear a story? I was like, yo, this is gonna be a all timer.
I mean, I wouldn't have believed it, but I lived it. So, and dude, what's crazy about this too is that my knee that's tilting sideways is still tilting sideways, but my foot has been shifted.
Oh, interesting.
You know what I mean? Like my knee is
Yeah,
still in the same place.
very
So
interesting.
it still
Yeah,
shows where it should be. If you look at your knees and you look at where your feet are, normally they line up when you're standing up.
right.
And now mine is pronated inward, which is actually feels normal.
Mm.
So, but what a trip. What an absolute trip. Thank you, God. Like genuinely, thank you, God. Thank you, beings who helped me. Thank you. Thank you to the man who I was healing. Thank you to Joe. Thank you to myself. Thank you for all my friends. Thank you for all my family. Like there's so many people that contributed to this healing, genuinely. Thank you for all the people in my group, in my
Mm.
little pod who sent me energy, who were sending energy, who were uplifting the field. Thank you for all the 1,800 people in that field or 2,000. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It seems like one event, one moment, one miraculous situation, but it was just everyone. There were just so many people, an incomprehensible amount of people and energies were actually helping make that occur.
Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Also, the break that you had, and when you decided that you were going to take this very seriously.
Oh, that was huge.
Yeah,
95% of people were talking, and
yeah,
connecting, which is a beautiful thing. But his suggestion was treat this like it's your
yeah,
family member or a close friend.
yeah,
And so it was
dude.
serious for me. It was that same discipline focus that he
Exactly,
has that I channeled and was
exactly.
this is serious. Let's go. This is the most
Yeah,
important moment of your life. Little did
yeah,
I know it would be.
yeah. And I think I wanted to highlight that specifically because I think, I don't know, a part of me feels like when you showed up in that way,
Yes.
everything ensued from that moment. It just
That's true.
feels intuitively true for me on this side. And also the pouring of emotion, the bawling your eyes out.
Hmm.
I feel like that was like the beginning of the release.
1000%. It was like I could feel that something was about to happen.
Mm,
And I could feel that I was about to be healed in some way at a subconscious deep level.
yes,
And I was surrendered. I was surrendering into that.
dude. Just that alone, there's so much to unpack. Just that alone with because like this isn't like, you haven't done any meditation that day, right? And it's like it's not like that. It's like quite literally from my understanding, it's like, early morning to late at night and you're spending hours and hours and hours
Yep.
in meditation
Yep.
that, right, like understandably so, the vast majority would be like, yo, let's take a break. And like, let's take a break from meditation. Let's take a break from reality. Let's take a break from truth, right? And I experienced this too because even the retreat that I went on a couple of weeks ago, like sometimes like people, and of course, like there's, lunchtime is for socializing, and you can do that thing. Like people would be like, man, I need a break from this. It's getting too intense, right? It's like, let's talk about something familiar and distract ourselves from the truth a little bit
Uh-huh.
more, right? And I
Uh,
think on some level, partly for me too, why I went to game seven, shout out to Canadians, right? But like on your level, it's like the sincerity of it, Danny, I find so fucking inspiring,
yeah, I
right? When
appreciate
you're
that.
like, oh, like it feels like one thing that I find so inspiring about you is it's like you can sense so purely what is true
Mm,
and you can stay there even if you're the only one that's there.
mm.
And by going there and staying there, you pull the entire world towards that place. And I think that's your one of many gifts.
I so appreciate you saying that. And that just what you said made me think of, um, you know, I I was I was obviously in my own world in this first 45-minute meditation and my eyes were closed. And a couple of days later, I was talking to someone and they said, I saw you sitting there and meditating, and I was like, I'm gonna do that too. And I was like, holy
Mm,
smokes. Here I was thinking that I
dude,
was disconnected from the field and I was just
dude,
doing my own thing and that it was just me and I have no
dude.
impact on other people and I'm just in my own world.
Wow.
And of course, and that's what's so interesting about life is because while it's simultaneously true that you are nobody, no thing, nowhere, no time, you are also everybody, everywhere, everything, every time. You are both. You are both nothing and everything. And love connects both of those things.
Ooh.
And the fact that I could be in my own space, in my own world, thinking that I was just in this experience, when in actuality, my experience was impacting someone else and influencing their behavior in a way that was making them more closer to truth is just, it's fascinating.
Dude, even that visual, it's like, I think that's a visual that's going to stay with me for a very long time. It's like, imagining, visualizing a place pretty noisy, people talking,
Mm,
eating,
mm,
chatting, whatever. And then there's this force on the side of the room,
mm,
eyes closed, sending ripples
mm.
throughout the field. Dude,
And I was so, I felt the field. When my eyes were closed, the feeling of love comes through me in a way that was
mm,
more profound than I've experienced in some time. And that I believe was the people who were also focused on love in that moment.
right.
And so I could really feel their presence. I got that image. I felt the love coming through me. That it's not a coincidence that I opened my eyes to people getting ready.
Right. Right.
And then they played the song while I was in the state. I'll never forget this song. You know, where some, I mean, I played it, I drove back today and I listened to it maybe, 10 times. And the song is called The Power Is Here Now.
Mm. I gotta listen to this after this
The
call.
Power Is Here Now by Alexia Chaloon. And they played
Wait.
it before walking into the meditation every single time. The coherence healing. They played it before going into the coherence healing.
What was
And
the name again? I got my clicker pen ready.
The Power Is Here Now by Alexia Chaloon. I'll get some of the lyrics out, but it won't do it justice because the song is beautiful.
And you said they played this prior to every coherence healing, leading up to it, the three.
Correct. Correct. Just to get you in that state to allow you to feel into your heart.
Mm.
And this is coded with talking meditations. This is coded with Tej. Just the first line, the first four lines. The power of love is here now. The power of now is here now. The power of you and me is here to create magic on earth.
Ooh. Bro, I can't think of four better sentences to listen to, speak out loud before beginning a day, a
Uh-huh.
conversation, this
Uh,
podcast, a
uh-huh.
date, any event than those four.
And I'm looking at the lyrics now. This is repeated. This this stanza one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10 times.
And that's how many times you listen to this song on the drive.
True. True. It's the same four lines
Wow.
over and over. And then
Bro, dude.
the other stanza is that is repeated twice in the middle at points in the middle is let the water wash away your tears. Let the fire burn away your fears.
Ooh.
Let the wind blow into your life such faith and trust. Oh, let the earth hold you, take care of you, and nurture you. Oh.
Bro. Bro. You know, like we were talking about writing out like I love myself like 100 times
Uh-huh.
per day.
Uh-huh.
Very powerful. But like even just listening to this song on repeat,
Uh-huh.
dude.
Uh-huh. The Power is Here Now by Alexia Chaloon. And the album is called Just Before I Sleep.
Ooh, that's so good.
Wow.
Wow.
And so I go to look up this song,
Uh-huh.
and it turns out that my friend Talia sent me this song
No way.
last year, 2 years ago, or a long time ago. And I
Bro.
had no idea. I was like, wow, that is incredible.
Wow,
So
dude.
it's all connected. It's all a beautiful, beautiful journey. Um, wow. I pray that we can attend one of these things together. I
Bro.
really do. And I was thinking about all these people in my life I was going to take all, by the way, this is also a conversation that I have with someone. So, first day I'm meditating and thinking about, oh my God, it would be amazing if I took my parents here. It'd be amazing if, family members, all this stuff, my friends. And then, by the fifth day or something, or the sixth day, I have a conversation with someone, with a couple. And the woman in the couple, she's been to, this is her fourth retreat. She had such a powerful experience in July of last year. It completely opened her up. It was incredible. So she says to her husband, I gotta bring him. I would love to bring you. And the husband's like, yeah, the husband comes. The husband and the wife are sitting there with me. And the husband's like, you know, I had such high expectations. This experience has not lived up to the hype.
Of course.
He's
Yeah.
like, he's like, the coherence healing, that was amazing. But the rest, like it was just kind of, I'm not experiencing anything that she described. And
Right.
it totally was a reminder for me
Yeah.
that in 2019 I wasn't ready for this experience.
Mhm.
In 2020, I was not ready for this experience.
Ooh,
And in 2023, I was not ready for this experience. And in 2026, I was.
dude.
And, and so it really hit home the importance of, yeah, you could bring someone to this, but if they're not ready for it, if they're not seeking it out, it might not be what you're experiencing. It won't be what you're experiencing because they're not.
Exactly.
So, so it kind of just made me want to send it out to my cousins and say, "Hey, cousins, just to let you know, this is what I'm doing, and if you want to come with
Yeah.
me, you are welcome to, but
Yes.
without any pressure, expectation, or anything like that for anybody in my life." And that goes to you as well.
It's so beautiful the way you express that because it's like whether it's 2019 or 2020 and 2021, so on and so forth, it's like the power is here now, but it's like the
Mm.
question is, are you here now?
Oh,
Right? And if you're there, then you'll, in my opinion, experience the magic that is
yeah,
here now.
yeah, yeah,
And I think like, being ready for it is just being more receptive
yeah,
to being here now.
yeah. It in some ways, it's how open is your heart? What are there might be things in the way blocking it. That's really what this experience was for me, is how open are you in your heart?
Mm,
That's how much love you're gonna feel.
right,
And
right,
so it's possible your heart is not open, and it shouldn't be open right now. That's the way it is. That maybe that's just the truth.
right.
And that's okay. So yeah, it's a really interesting experiencing having a profound experience, but then at the same time, one, realizing that there might be people you love who can't even hear it.
Mm,
And there's heartbreak in that.
mm,
And and then there's the piece of that person's not supposed to hear that experience in this moment. And they're not supposed to experience that experience in this moment.
right. Yeah. I think like seeing the hand of God at play even in those moments is what heals the heartbreak,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. Absolutely.
And it's like, because think about like how remarkable it's been. Imagine if somebody came to you in like 2018 or 2019, and then, they're like ranting and raving about all this stuff. It may have turned you off from it completely,
Totally. Totally.
right? But like, since like, you followed the clues to get here, it's like, whoa, 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 right? It's like
Yeah.
living your own hero's journey and connecting with the ultimate treasure, which we're all trying to find, whether we realize it or not, which is God with all caps, baby.
Well said. Well said. Spoken like a true rap fan.
Straight up.
Wow. Man, the people, you'd have such good conversations. The people on these retreats, they get so open. And one conversation with the guy, he said, I don't know, have you been to this? He said, I've been into one other retreat. I said, cool. What one other retreat have you been to? It was, he's like, yeah, it was in Mexico. It was a small thing, it was like 150 people, but, you know, said, okay, what was it called? He said, oh, it's called the Urn. I said, no way. I went to the Urn. When did you go to the Urn?
Oh, what?
This is a South African guy that I'm sitting next to,
Yeah.
of the 2,000 people.
Wow.
And he said, I went to the Urn in 2024. I said, dude, I went to the Urn in 2020.
You were
I,
one of the 150?
he was one of the 149 people in that group chat. And I'm like, how is that even possible? And he
Wow.
just had this beautiful moment of like, wow, God is really everywhere, every time. And it just, there were so, the moments were just, they were just so profound. Just a little moment like that, just leave
Hmm.
you with awe. Where someone comes up to me and it's like, I was just thinking of you.
Hmm.
It just, what a blessing. And I think the thing is that you get into in that state is you're looking at life through the most charitable lens.
Ooh.
And from the least charitable perspective, what is that? Like that's not important. That's a
Right.
coincidence. That doesn't mean anything.
Right.
The most charitable perspective is, wow, that was
Mm.
magic. And I just experienced that. And you just
Mm.
experienced that. And we experienced that together through some unifying
Mm.
force and field. And charity, like the word charity is like
Right.
instills kindness and love and gentleness. And it
Mm.
and so what we're working on through all of these meditations is let's look at life through a more charitable lens.
Ooh.
And really, if you just focus on that, and then you focus, you're giving to yourself so that you can then give to someone else. Because everyone is feeling good by the last day, other than that husband of the no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. He was feeling good too. Everyone was feeling good. And when you're feeling good, you're feeling God. And when you're feeling God, you just want to connect with people and you want to love on people and you just want to ask questions and be curious and learn and be excited and stay focused and stay centered and you're open. And so
Ooh.
I just want to keep experiencing that. I want to keep living in that. I don't want to forget that. I don't want to forget the tears. I don't want to forget the stories. I don't want to forget that my foot is fucking straight now.
Mm.
I don't want to forget. I will remember. I am going
Dude.
to remember. And I'm going to do the meditations every single day. I'm going to go to every retreat I can go to. I am going to be in the presence of a master teacher. I am going to. It is it is what I'm here to do in this moment is to attend these retreats and soak in as much knowledge as much wisdom, as much connection to love as I possibly can from someone who's lived it and continue on the path and see where that leads. That's what I'm about. That's what I'm doing. What are you doing? Give me your best. Let's go. As Joe has, You gotta want it. I'm calling on you. He's so good. And the craziest part about this whole Joe Dispenza deal for me is that I could not connect with him. He was on these podcasts and all this
Yeah,
stuff.
dude, that's where I was coming from, bro.
Totally. Totally. And he's talking about all the science and it's all going over my head. And I'm like, I'm saying to him, dude, give me your story. I don't care about any of this stuff. And the
Hmm.
reason why he doesn't go into the story is because science, from his perspective, is the universal connecting language of the
Mm,
present moment.
I see.
And I respect that because the man is so mystical. He could tell you about every synchronicity that happened to him. And the reason why he doesn't, it seems from my perspective, is because he wants to connect with people. He wants to
Mm,
connect with people with where they're at. And science is true to him. He's a scientist by in his being. He loves reading it. So it is true for him. He's not just doing it for other people. He's actually feels the connection to science and wants to be remembered as a scientist and a scientist that is remembered. And and he is also a mystic. And that's where I connect with him. That's where I feel his presence. And that's where I feel so inspired by him. The synchronicities that he describes, how things have occurred in his life, what the stories that he shares at the retreat. It's just incredible the synchronicities that have happened in his life and the connections and the mystical moments and that he's created them. So I didn't connect with him at all. Four different people that I respect mentioned in the same week. And so I decided to do this. And now
wow.
I get it. I truly get it. And I want to keep getting it and I want to keep learning and I want to keep exploring. And I really want to see where this road leads.
And you quite literally have a physical symbol, physical reminder,
That's right.
which is remarkable to say the least.
Every time I look down, I'll think of Joe Dispenza. And every time I look up, I will as well.
Mm. And it's like, you know, those are the feet that you're quite literally walking this
The
path with.
path. Yeah. Yeah. You know, looking up and looking down, it reminds me of this important concept that he teaches and he talks about, which is about the different brain wave lengths. Okay.
Hmm.
So delta is the slowest brainwave state, and that's sleep. And what people are in on the day to day, what we might be in, I don't know, because this is a powerful conversation, but what most people are like in most days when they're speaking or talking to people is a beta brainwave state.
Hmm.
And then he teaches the specific breath that helps, that makes your brain go into a gamma state. And gamma and delta are the places where you can feel God. People talking about dreams and feeling connected to people, and you're talking about gamma. It's like it's so fast. And then you have beta that's in the middle. And beta is where we forget. Beta is where we go into the state of the material world. And it's such a when we go above and below that, we can get to God. And that's what meditation
Mm.
brings you in theta. It's a slower brainwave state. And in
Mm.
that slower brainwave state, you're more connected to God. Gamma is a faster brainwave state than beta, and
Mm.
you're more connected to God. It's only in our wakefulness do we forget.
Wow. Wow.
Does that make sense?
Dude, 100%. And like you just beautifully described, you know, when people ask, like, why meditate,
Mm.
right? And like without that, basically what you just said, right? Like it's like you can start to see the value of putting it in a scientific frame,
Yeah.
right? Like you just described in like a sentence what, I've spent like fucking 1,000 tweets on.
Me too. Me and you both. I'm very much learning in this aspect, but it's so cool to see this other side of it and to study this other side of it that it's like, what's the science of God? You know? I mean, the examples are so profound. He talked about this experiment where you got robots who are random, they're designed for randomness.
Hmm.
Robots
Hmm.
in a field. I don't know how big it is. So the robots are going in random patterns in the field. Okay? And then they take a bunch of baby chicks, and the baby chicks are looking at this robot. And the baby chicks, with their awareness alone, are pulling the robot closer to it.
Dude, dude, what?
Yep, that's a true experiment.
What?
That's a true experiment that I saw, that I witnessed. And
Dude,
it's like, you think your awareness is insignificant? You think your attention does not matter?
dude,
You're channeling
dude.
an aspect of God.
Oh
And
my
you think your
God.
attention doesn't matter when the baby chicks are literally pulling random robots closer to them just by thought alone?
Oh my God. Bro, you were sitting on this?
I went through a week, Tej, of lectures and meditation. There's so much more. There is so much. There are random number generators that
Yeah.
they put in the room while doing this coherence healing.
Okay.
And all the time, the random number generators go 0 1 0 1 0 1 randomly, and it's even. And then the random during the coherence healing, the random number generators become not random. I don't know what the percentage is, but they all of a sudden
Wow.
change
Dude,
in a significant way.
dude.
But then it gets even crazier because there are random generators all over the world, different continents that are completely unrelated
Oh my
to
God.
this random event generator and those random event generators
Oh
all
my
around the
God.
world at the exact moment of the coherence healing are impacted.
Entanglement, baby.
You know it. You know it. So, fuck. It's just so cool to realize that we're all connected in this beautiful way, and everyone's on their own journey, and everyone's connected, and
Hmm.
and just like the flock of birds, we created a field in that retreat where it is still rippling, it is still entangled, and we entangled ourselves in this way that was just so profound and so beautiful, and um, can't wait to
Dude,
experience it again, God willing.
it's so beautiful to see. Like, even the husband who was like, yo, like the coherence was cool, but like everything else is like, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
how even him
Yes.
and just him being him in its full, authentic self, nature, whatever, was bringing something to the field that benefited other people.
Absolutely.
Right. So,
Absolutely.
and I think like, because if somebody is, I think one of the ways a retreat like this melts away doubt is certain people are more doubtful and skeptical, and they bring that to the retreat. And then that actually helps everybody else clear their doubt as well.
Because why? What about it?
Because I think it's like
Mm, mm.
every time a conversation happens or more than one person gets together, a field gets created, right? And the field is always already there, but like, within this conversation, for instance, on this podcast, there's a field. And like
Yep.
whatever you're sensing in your space, I can also start sensing because we're sharing the field,
Hmm.
right? And we're having a conversation. So I think once you show up to a retreat like this and everybody brings themselves, each of those individuals is like a node in the collective field,
Yep.
right? And they're like broadcasting, whether they're in coherence or out of coherence, they're broadcasting something that is actually helping the totality of the field, one, create itself, and two, actually sustain itself. Because one thing you'll notice is wherever there's like, let's say a field gets created, wherever attention is needed,
Yeah.
compassion will flow.
Yep.
Right. So let's say like a field gets created and there's like 2,000 people. And let's say like, there's one individual in the field that's like, really going through a hard time. And this isn't anything conscious. This is just like, I think what happens with the field. Let's say there's one individual that's going through a hard time. All the love that is getting created in the field from like, the 2,000 people will naturally start to flow towards the one individual that needs it the most. The
Yep.
field naturally goes to the point where, it's most needed. Love will
Yes.
naturally flow in that direction. But of course, most people that are like, at that stage, they may not be receptive to the love, right? But then that love that is being sent in that person's direction will also start to flow in the areas of every other individual that also has a layer of doubt and is a little bit skeptical. So it will start to heal their doubts
Yep.
and their, worries and whatever this is. So it's like when people show up to a field like this, however they show up is benefiting the totality of the field.
Yeah, that's really well said. And the way that I kind of relate to this on the practical or in the just the day to day is that if you take a conversation with two friends, the conversation is often going to flow to the person who needs it the most.
Mm, right.
And and even just take this conversation, this specific moment right now, like in the last 2 hours and 42 minutes, the conversation is focused on my experience at Joe Dispenza, right? And that's because that was the most pressing need of
Mm,
of the two of us.
right.
Like I needed to process this. This happened, this ended yesterday.
Right.
I haven't spoken about this
Right.
at length with too many people,
Exactly.
and
Yes.
there's a desire for me to do that.
Yes. Of course.
And
Yes.
so the conversation naturally flowed in that direction, as it always does when someone needs something. If there's empty space, uh, it will get filled with compassion with the person who needs it the most. That's been my experience. That's
Dude.
what I've noticed. And so I encourage you to notice that in your own life. Like if somebody is hogging the conversation or you feel like, why is this person talking so much? It's often because that person actually really needs it in that moment. And
Hmm.
and that's the space for that person to share that what's on their heart or their mind or processing. So yeah, it's a really beautiful thing that gets like underlooked or I never considered growing up is that the conversation flows to the person who needs it the most.
Bro. That's such a, I love the way you put that. So practical and so useful.
Yeah.
So useful.
Yeah, and I love from your perspective as well what you said about it's almost like if you're all meditating together, the energy will flow to that person who needs it the most, which
Yeah.
is such an interesting concept that it's also happening without the conversation, which I
Right.
fully believe is true.
Yeah, because like even in like a lot of spiritual traditions, before the group will sit down to meditate, they'll sometimes say, "We dedicate this to all the beings that are currently suffering. We
Mm,
dedicate the fruits of our meditation to those beings." And
mm,
it's like it's a well-known thing in a lot of like This sounds funny, like hardcore meditation circles, whatever the fuck that means, right? It's like a well-known thing that if you're meditating for your own liberation and enlightenment, you won't get it.
Mm,
But if you dedicate the fruits of your meditation to the liberation of all sentient beings, you'll get it.
yeah. Almost like if you're trying to heal the other person, you'll
Yes.
get healed.
Yes.
Almost like that.
Exactly. Almost exactly like that.
I can tell you from firsthand experience, that is a true, what you just said is true. And I've got the personal anecdotal evidence to prove it. Dude, I'm
Yeah.
telling you, that meditation on the second day, that coherence healing was so different, so
Mm.
different. And it's because I was like, oh, this could actually
Of
work for me.
course. Of course. Yeah. It makes sense, bro.
And
And
I
it's
took it
like
a little bit less seriously, and I was like, okay, like let's go. Come on, God.
I found the cheat codes.
I'm just gonna step into this room and it's all gonna be good.
Yeah. And it also like one thing that I find really cool about life is you can't hack it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's like when you're genuine
Yeah.
and you're actually like the reason I think like the experience was like so remarkable is because you were very sincere. And I think
Yeah.
sincerity is so underrated,
Yeah.
right? Because if you think about it, if all there is on the fundamental level is God, then you can't fool God because every thought you have to fool God, God knows,
Mm.
right? So you can't hack
Mm.
it. So like God knows you more than you know yourself, and he can obviously, sense what's real and what's false. And God is your ultimate nature, so it's not like there's something else, right? So it's like I can't lie to myself, right? And if
Yeah.
I am lying to myself, I know when I'm lying to myself.
Yeah.
But I think the remarkable thing about your story, it's like it's so genuine and it was so sincere, and that's why what happened happened. But like the humanness is like, oh, this is the formula, this is the building block. Let's try it again. Let's try it again, right? But what's missing, just like in the doctors, what gets stripped out of them is what actually heals, which is the empathy and the love. It's like here, what gets stripped out with the formula is the sincerity that actually makes it work.
Yeah. I've been thinking about this word a lot, earnestness, and to be earnest. That it to be earnest is just in your pursuit of God, in your pursuit of your highest self, in your pursuit of the truth, to be earnest in love, to be earnest in presence. I mean, if you really give your best over a long enough time horizon, you get rewarded. And I really feel that a lot of people would say often on the podcast, like, dude, you're getting these guests. How are you getting these guests? They're so much bigger than what you should be getting based on similar audiences or whatever. And I'm like, I didn't say this at the time, but looking back, it's obvious. My request for them to come on the podcast was just earnest. It was just a
Mm.
genuine desire to learn more about this person. It was genuine. It wasn't, I want this person on for views. I want this because it's going to make me look good. I want this person on because of it was just I want to be earnest and like bring people onto this podcast that I care about and that I want to learn from. And to live an earnest life is to really care about it and to be genuine and to be sincere. I want this to be the most loving life that I possibly can, and I really mean that, and really meaning it is earnestness.
What a beautiful word too, bro.
Yeah.
When you like hear it, it's
Yeah.
like instantly takes you to that place.
Yeah. I really admire that quality. And I feel like you really have that in spades yourself, like with the school, with your meditation. You've been doing it for a long time, man. Been doing it for you. You've been doing diamond approach now for 5 years. You've been meditating for 15, and you
Yeah.
don't realize how significant that is until you really stop to consider the opposite and
Mm.
to consider, this is someone's first year that on their meditation journey. This is someone's second year. This is someone's third year. This is someone's seventh year. And so the fact that you've been doing it for so long, so consistently, I mean, it is really remarkable.
Dude, the only couple of weeks that I missed for meditation is when I almost drowned, remember?
I remember. I remember. I remember for
I
sure.
fell down the stairs and I almost drowned within the same 2 weeks that I stopped meditating.
And you're like, okay, I got it. I understand. I learned the lesson. I will
That was the
start.
opposite of my foot correcting itself. I was about to break my foot, bro.
Going out of alignment. I mean, yeah, that's so true. And you just got
Yeah,
right back into it.
yeah. I feel like meditation is like you go from meditating to realizing that what's meditating is reality and you like become the meditation, right? Like
Yeah.
in the beginning, there's like a person meditating.
Uh-huh.
And then there comes a time when it's just like, oh, like when I'm meditating, I'm actually getting in tune with how reality is actually moving and flowing, and I'm syncing with that. And the more time you spend in meditation, the more you sync till, the separate meditator kind of disappears and there's only meditation.
Now, that's a beautiful concept, Tej, and definitely one that I understand from an intellectual level, but not a felt sense. What is the felt sense of that like?
It's like, for me at least, I don't know how it is for other people, but for me at least, it feels like meditation is like actually who and what we are and what reality is.
Mm,
It's not like a doing, right? It's not an action. It's not an activity. It's like reality is always meditating. Reality is always here. Reality is always unfolding,
mm,
right? Going back to the song, the power is here now,
mm.
right? And it's like I think like when I first started meditating, like I was trying to twist the arm of God. I was like, give me creativity. I was like, bro, give me some creativity so I can like make some money, right? Like essentially. And God was nice. Shout out to God, man. He hooked up some creative ideas, some juicy big ideas that I used in my marketing promotions. But probably sent me, I was like, okay, like this works, so let me like do it more. And then I kept doing more of it. And in the beginning, I was amazed at the byproducts of meditation, right? Which were like the byproducts of like increased in focus or like creativity. I remember talking with one of my business friends around this time when we started meditating, and he had been doing it a little bit longer than me. And he's like, yo, the way that I think about meditation is if it can help me make one decision in business that I otherwise wouldn't have made, then meditation is a success for me. That's how he defined it, right? And I was like, at that time, like that's all I cared about. I was like, yo, like that sounds pretty fucking good, right? Like in business, like in any given year, you usually just need to make like 1 to 2 good decisions and it can like, generate 80% of the success for that year. So if you think about it, every year just comes down to making 1 to 2 key big decisions,
Mm.
right? And then if you're meditating, I think Ray Dalio said like he credits a lot of his success or all of his success to his daily meditation habit because it gives him the space to intuitively know like what direction to go down and make better decisions. So that was kind of the marketing that was sold to me. And then I discovered somebody like Trevor G. Blake who was like, yeah, like all my, $100 million ideas I got through taking quiet time. So I was like, yo, this is like fuel to the fire, right?
Yeah.
And then I start meditating and I'm going after all these little goodies. And I'm thinking all these goodies are like the fucking pinnacle, right? I'm like, yo, if I get these goodies are like what society classifies as like, the pinnacle. So if you get these goodies, you're good. And the goodies started coming, but also so much more started coming, right? It's like God saying, "Oh, you thought these goodies was all that I was good for? You don't even know what I'm capable of." Right? And there was like this vast force that was like calling me. And like I tried to ignore this call. I was like, no, I'm happy with the goodies, right? But it's like the kid that has like the best toys in the sandcastle. Eventually he realizes he's in a fucking sandcastle and there's a whole world outside of the sandcastle. That's what meditation started to do to me. And in the beginning, I was the kid in the sandcastle, playing with different toys, getting new toys, whatever. And then through the act of meditation, more of the world outside the sandcastle started to open up. And the more that I would meditate, it was like first I was meditating to get something, then I was meditating to simply arrive here. And the more that I arrived here, the more of me started to disappear and the more reality itself started meditating through me.
Mm,
And I was like, yo, what the fuck is happening? Right. Whenever I would kind of like come back online. And then, but the kicker is I felt the most myself. Like the feeling I always had when reality would come online and start meditating through me is I feel so me.
mm,
I feel so like myself, even though the familiar Tej was nowhere to be found.
mm.
Right. So it really started opening up a question for me. Who the
Who
fuck
is who's
actually
Tej?
am I? Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, yo, people keep talking about this Tej guy. Who the fuck is this Tej guy? And it's like, that's why I was like, yo, this is a big case of mistaken identity in a way. Right. I've been living the life of Tej. But really, who am I? And that's like the classic question that starts the inquiry, right? Who am I and what is this? And I think like from that vantage point, the curiosity that gets illuminated, like it's a pretty intense thing. Like, when you're like living in the world and you've known yourself as this Tej guy and that's how everybody else knows you. And then you start having these experiences. It's like, wait a minute. Like, like if you don't have strong grounding, like it happened to one of my one of my friends. He was like very young and like he started waking up to how the character isn't who and what he truly is.
Mm,
But he was like very young and he was like, early 20s.
mm.
And like obviously the brain hasn't fully developed at that point. And also early 20s, there's not much grounding in your life,
Yeah.
right? And you need like a lot of grounding in order to stabilize the realizations. Otherwise, there's like it's like those realizations may cause a lot of changes very rapidly that may be too much for your psyche to reorient towards.
Well, psychosis and a spiritual awakening is not so far
Exactly.
away.
Exactly. And like one of the reasons, I don't know, this might be a little bit fucked up to say, but one of the reasons I like to like speak with like a lot of the homeless people in Vancouver is because a lot of the stuff they talk about is straight out of an Eckhart Tolle book,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
it's like exactly out of an Eckhart Tolle book. I remember I was reading Eckhart Tolle and I was walking down the street. I put down the book, I left the apartment. I went on a walk. There was two homeless guys in front of me, like fighting with each other, saying random things. And then another homeless guy was like walking with them, and he was probably like high on something. Everybody else was crossing the street, but the stuff that he was saying was like straight out of the Eckhart Tolle book.
Wow.
And like he was talking about like how there's a field here and you guys aren't seeing it and like wake up. And it almost made me feel like it was a street of Vancouver where a lot of business people operate, right? So everybody's dressed in suit and ties, right?
Hmm.
I had just finished like deep work hours, so like I was, going in the opposite direction. But everybody was dressed in suit and ties, and everybody in suit and ties thought they were the normal ones,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it's like, because as a collective, we agreed that the people in suit and ties are normal. But for me, the stuff the homeless guy was saying, I felt a greater resonance with that compared to the other people that were crossing the street. So I stayed on the side of the homeless guy. And I was just curious to hear what he had to say. I kept my distance because sometimes, there is some level of psychosis and behavior is unpredictable. A lot of crazy shit can happen. But for me, I just felt like, yo, there is a very thin line here between psychosis and you can say like spiritual awakening. And I think it's very important to ground yourself.
I, I'm how does one ground oneself as they're coming to these realizations?
Yeah, for me, grounding was something that was very hard to do because my nature, the way that it felt was like spiritual awakening. I feel like the spirit is almost trying to leave the body,
Mm,
right? And the more
interesting.
and it's like trying to leave the body and wake up to its infinite power, how it's not caged in just this body, right? But in order for that to actually happen, I think it's needed to actually ground the spirit in the body first. So like one thing that you pointed out that I think was very um beneficial is how you were talking about your journey with lifting weights,
Yeah,
going to the gym, the
yeah,
body, right? How you said if it wasn't for that, you don't know if you would have gone down the spiritual stuff.
yeah,
Or, it's
yeah,
like the body was the way to ground yourself.
yeah.
So I think, doing things with the body, right? Whatever it is, lifting weights, running, walking, um, is all a good support for staying grounded. Also, having a career in the world, doing things in the world, having friends, having relationships is a good way to ground yourself,
Hmm.
right? Very
Hmm.
critical. And then also things like grounding meditation. Like for me, the reason I felt such a strong connection with like a belly centered meditation, as opposed to no knock on this, but as opposed to things like Kundalini
Hmm.
meditations, it's like in the beginning, I was like, I don't even know what the fuck a Kundalini is. I'm not gonna fuck with things I don't know, right? Like so many people have Kundalini awakenings and they completely are ungrounded and their
Yeah.
entire life goes to shit,
Yep.
right? So it's like these things are a part of our nature and they're very powerful. And there's like a level of humility that is needed to kind of, embrace these things. So for me, the grounding meditation, which is like the belly meditation, was and still is very foundational in actually staying grounded.
Yeah. And it makes me think about one thing that we did this past week that I never done during meditation was after every seated meditation that we did, we would lay on the floor for 10 to 15 minutes, 10 to 20 minutes after the
Beautiful.
the seated I'm like, wow,
Beautiful.
this is really grounding.
The reason I say that's beautiful,
Yeah.
there's this I like to find like a lot of people that are like kind of on the cutting edge of like various disciplines,
Uh-huh.
right? But like not a lot of people may not necessarily know them. And I found like this one guy a year and a half ago. I think he's like the king of stretching,
Nice.
right? And he has like whatever, like a long list of credentials that I honestly forgot, but he knows his shit. And one thing that he does after every stretch, so like you stretch for 2 minutes, right? And then after you do the stretch, you lay down for 1 minute, completely
Wow.
still, right?
Wow.
And after every stretch, and he's like, this is the secret. And you do like multiple sets of this, right? So like you'll do 2 minutes of the stretch, and then you'll do 1 minute just laying there, and then you do the same stretch, 2 minutes, and then you'll spend 1 minute laying there, and then 2 minutes, and then 1 minute. And what you notice is the laying there is when all the magic happens because the
Wow.
body starts recalibrating. So like the first
Fuck.
time you do the stretch, right? You can like do the stretch, but it's like, you max out at a certain level. Then you lay there for 1 minute and you get back up and do the stretch again. Bro, you go so much deeper, so much further.
Wow.
Same thing again. So he discovered that the whole process of actually laying still for a minute after each stretch is what actually improves your flexibility. And most people don't do that, right? So it's like you got to give body space to actually internalize everything. It's the same thing that I learned in university. In university, they made us take a throwaway course from, it was like an online course from Stanford. It was mandatory, but it ended up becoming the best course I ever took in university. It was a course on learning how to learn.
Hmm.
And there was one concept in there. It's like most people think that in order to learn, you just gotta, just like fill your brain with a bunch of knowledge and just do that all day, all night, right? But the secret to actually learning is immerse yourself in the subject and then give your brain a break. So it's like if you were a camera, you want to go from a zoomed in view to a wide lens view. And in the wide lens view is when all the learning actually happens. So what I started doing was I ran an experiment where I would study and then I would take a nap. So like when everybody else, like all my friends were like studying, I would just be sleeping,
Uh-huh.
right? And then instead of like pulling all nighters or like, studying and cramming the day before the exam, I would do like the day before the exam, I would probably only do like 5% of my studying. And the moments leading up to the exam, when everybody is spread across the lecture hall, cramming the last bit of information that they could cram, I would tell my brain, hey, brain, forget everything, clear state, just allow
Mm,
the question to trigger the answer to come up. Everything is already stored inside here, like a search engine. Just allow the query of the question to trigger the appropriate answer. Other than that, you're free to forget everything.
mm.
And by creating space, the brain could perform. And I literally transformed my grades from like almost going on academic probation to like acing practically every course since. Right. So, this concept of laying there for a minute, allowing the work to truly digest,
Mm.
it's a concept that plays out across the totality of our life. And I think
Mm.
we don't realize it. Right. Even the stuff with like Trevor G. Blake, like he swears by the schedule. He calls it the 5 hour workday, where it's like 2 hours of work and then 2 hours of maybe just going out in nature meditating. And he's like, all the work happens in the 2 hours he spends meditating in nature, not in the 2 hours of actual work.
Dude, I could feel how much aliveness this brings you. Like it is palpable and felt. And why do you think that this topic brings you so much energy?
Because I feel like the whole world, especially the business world,
Mm.
is running off of just being in zoomed in mode all day, all
Mm.
night,
Mm.
right? But all the magic that I've experienced in my life has been in the periods spent doing nothing,
Yeah.
right? Like I had a tweet one time. I think it's like personally, I think it's my favorite tweet that I ever tweeted.
Whoa. That's saying a lot. You've tweeted a lot of times.
It's like my greatest flex is sitting on a park bench midday during prime work hours, doing absolutely nothing and loving it.
Yeah, man. I mean, it is profound to realize that work is being done when you assume nothing is.
Exactly. Because it's like that's when God starts working.
Correct. That, and we spoke about it in the last pod, I'm pretty sure, where we talked about sleep is when your
Oh yeah.
spirit is leaving the body.
Yeah.
And
Call back.
yeah, and it's real. And I remember watching this YouTube short about Shohei Ohtani is the best player in baseball in the MLB, and his teammate was talking about him, and his teammate is asked, "What's one thing that is surprising to you about Shohei Ohtani?" And he said, "The guy sleeps so much,
Mm,
12 or 13 hours a day, or something insane." It's like that's the best player
dude.
in baseball. And
Uh,
he also said that he's never seen him open a phone, that he reads
really?
comics on,
Really?
yes. And he also, Shohei Ohtani has written out and did write out everything that he would accomplish when he was 15, 16, or 17
Incredible.
and wrote it all out. And it's just, wow, these, but
Yeah.
speaking specifically to the point about the space and the rest, and it is so underlooked as sleep as important is literally just a concept that's risen up in the last
Yeah.
10 years. Like
Yeah.
that is not a concept that ever people ever connected with. And now all of a
100%.
sudden it is. And it's like what we're describing is, you know, sleep is a form of meditation, as is when you're stretching for 2 minutes and then you're sitting there, you're laying down for a minute. You're in that moment, you're just allowing space, you're allowing meditation, you're allowing just being with whatever is arising in your body. And it's profound that that could actually make you more flexible. It's profound that sitting there doing nothing, quote unquote, just being with the present moment as it is, could actually be everything.
Yes.
It's special.
Yes. Dude, it's a radical shift in what
And
we've taken a lot of things to be.
yeah, and it's one that 2,000 people were there at that meditation retreat, and they were all sorts of people, all sorts of normal people were there.
Hmm.
And so from all different countries, so it's happening. 2,000 people don't just show up to something like that unless something is happening that they could feel, that they could sense, um, and that there was some importance on resting and being with and just connecting with the present moment and allowing that to give all the answers. I mean, dude, the stories, it gets wild because when you're just with the present moment in that state, wild things can occur. I heard
Mm.
two separate instances
Hmm.
of people saying, this is two different people who for the first and in their first meditation that they've ever done in their life,
First
at
ever.
first ever, people are doing their first ever meditation.
Whoa. Incredible.
They're seeing spirits of people who are no longer. One was an example of a grandpa who has passed on.
Hmm.
Another was an example of or they felt the spirit of a baby who has not been born yet.
Wow.
And in both of these cases, they were later with, they were later connected with the person who they saw.
Whoa.
So the family member that they saw, they were then connected with. And they were able to tell this person's name. They were able to um,
Wow.
describe what their presence was like, what they looked like, what their mannerisms were like. And these were people who had never meditated before, but they just
Dude.
allowed space and they were connected to the field of 2,000 people and messages came through.
Dude. Dude. I love that.
Right?
What's so I think it's what you're touching upon. It's like one I think the most exciting thing about life is in the present moment or in presence, literally anything can happen.
Yeah.
It's like infinite possibilities,
Quite literally.
right? And it's like that's what I always found in my own life too. It's like whenever my life feels like it's like stuck in a rut, or it's like life is like a dress rehearsal, or it's like different days, same shit. I had to throw in that rap reference just for you, Danny.
Appreciate it.
And then it's like those are the times that I'm not in presence.
Yeah.
Right? It's like you can go to the same coffee shop. I remember the same friend that goes to a lot of Joe Dispenza. He was like, he was talking about this. He's like, yo, like in literally any moment, anything can happen. Like you can literally make anything happen, right? And if you're in presence, like you can quite literally tap into any, outcome that you want, and you can make happen. And he's like, he was standing in a coffee shop, And he's like, normally he would just stand there in the coffee shop and, not really do anything or say anything or just order his coffee, maybe say a couple of words to the person serving the coffee and then call it a day. And then I think in that particular time, he like had that insight. And like when the insight hits, it's like pretty fucking, because I've experienced this too.
Yep.
It's pretty fucking jarring.
Yep.
It's quite literally cold water, the coldest water to the fucking
Splash.
face, bro.
Yeah.
It's like, holy shit.
Yep.
And it's like quite literally all the cells in your being, including the spiritual ones, wake up all at once. And it quite literally jolts you awake. And it's like, holy shit, this is what it means to be awake. And then from that moment, he had like a remarkable conversation, and then other people joined in the conversation and
Hmm.
like turned into this whole thing. He made
Hmm.
friends from the thing, and like they kept in contact. And it's like, yo, like that connection was there in the present moment. And normally he would be outside of the present moment, maybe more in the mind, more in the future, more in the past, more in the familiar story. But when he broke out, his life broke through.
Is so profound. And
Like that alone is like a fucking trip, because that's why I always like when people talk about like age and they're like, yo, I'm like this old, like you think I can still do it? Or like, I'm like, bro, like age is irrelevant in
yeah.
presence. Presence is fucking ageless.
Yeah. And it's connect your friend was connecting to what felt alive for him in that moment. And that created a whole story. And that created and you know what's something so fascinating for me is that, and I'm curious if you would do this and you go back in your journal from college or you go back in your journal from 10 years ago and the and you'll see names and I say to myself, who was that again? What like what was their last name? I wish I wrote their last name. And it's like, whoa, this situation that had so much charge in this moment.
Right.
In that moment, in this moment, I'm saying to myself, I don't even remember their last name and I can't even picture what they look like. So how could that, what the fuck? Why was it,
Dude.
why was I tripping? You know?
Dude. My
But
my my favorite example of this, when people look at old photos of themselves and they crack jokes that like, yo, I can't believe I dressed like that.
uh-huh. Uh-huh.
It's like there's space between who they are now and who they were then, which gives them the space to actually crack jokes at their own expense. But if you
Wow.
think about it, it's the same thing that's happening now, but we're so identified with the stuff that we're holding
Whoa.
on to.
I think, wow,
It's
that
like
that is
if
powerful.
Yeah, it's like if I go to that same person, I'm like, yo, what the fuck are you wearing today? Right? They're gonna take it personally. But give it 10
Yes.
years, they're gonna be like, what the
Holy
fuck was I
shit.
wearing?
Dude, and I think, that concept, that exact concept you articulated beautifully is exactly why I started to document my breakup. Because I was
Mm.
like, bro, like I'm not even this guy. I know I'm not this guy.
Wow.
And so I don't give a fuck. I'll share with you this process of me feeling like shit. I don't give a fuck. Because the
Wow.
reason why is because I'm not this. This is
Yes.
just an
Yes.
experience that this character is having.
Yes. That's the only way you would be able to share it that candidly.
Correct. Correct. There's part of you that is connected to that body and part of you that realizes you're not that fucking body. And
Wow.
and the interesting thing is I think I genuinely believe it's important to hold both. Like you are that body, but you're not. Because if I was recording those videos from I'm not this person, I'm not this like and it'd almost be like I'm rejecting the experience.
Yeah. Exactly.
But part of me knew that I wasn't that. But
Yeah.
also part of me knew I was.
Yes.
And
And
that
that's
was the
what,
truth.
yeah. And I think that goes to what you were saying earlier. You're both like nothing, nobody, the way
Yes.
that you put it, and also
Yes.
everything.
Everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The
Yeah.
dance of life.
So beautiful. So beautiful.
Dude, you know what's so funny? When you texted me those three times for,
Mm.
potentially running this pod, I
Yeah.
felt like this podcast needs to happen today for some reason. And now I understand why it needed to happen today.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a lot of there I think the closer you get to the source, like the more rich the experience.
Mm.
And it and the more days go. I mean, I wrote down my notes from this from the past week. I wrote down every day and then I just typed them up. And it was 4,500 words. And I was saying to myself, what happened? There's one day, like day three, I didn't write anything. And I have no clue what occurred. That day is lost. I mean, I did have a different journal that I one line a day, but in some ways, I'm like, wow, that is so interesting that there there's no record of this. Um, and so, yeah, I would have forgot some of the stuff that I said, honestly. Um, and also the other thing is in that state at the retreat, I had felt like I had so much space in my brain to remember things that I would have otherwise forgotten, like people's
Mm.
names. I met
Mm.
so many people and I'm connected to their names. And I felt so good about that. I felt so wow. But it's only a result of all the time I was clearing all the RAM, clearing it, clearing it, clearing it.
Yes,
So um, I'm so pumped we recorded this pod tonight. I'm
dude.
so pumped about that. I was huge win for
Dude.
this.
This was like this is an all-timer today.
All timer after 4 or 5 episodes. I love it. I mean, we've done what, 10 total, 12 total, 15, something like that. Oh,
Dude,
yeah.
your storytelling skills as well. I wanted to highlight.
Thank
Exceptional,
you.
bro.
Thank
Exceptional.
you. Thank you. I
Exceptional.
mean, I there was a lot of time listening to Joe Dispenza tell stories. And genuinely the way that he can captivate people. 2,000 people.
Yeah,
And people are not, no one's on their phone. It's like everyone's
dude.
engaged. And to be able to engage people for that long was very impressive. And I hope some of it came through.
Does he do some of the meditations like live or are they
I believe he does everyone live. I,
wow.
I I was wondering, is this recorded? Is this live? While it's going on? And the woman at the end who was giving the speech to wrap it up was like, he does all of these live. And I'm like, what?
Wow,
That is insane.
bro.
So I don't know if I misheard her, but I could have sworn that the timing was so precise. This must be recorded. But, that was that was not a moment I was in presence. That was a moment that I was I was wondering what the fuck what was going on over here. But yeah, man, it was an incredible production. It was incredible uh, week. I highly recommend it. If you got to this point in the episode and you're curious about it, I mean, send us an email, hello@talkingmeditations.com. Um, I just I recommend it. I really do. It was one of, if not the greatest week of my life. Um, I'm really looking forward to attending another one. I'm looking forward to being in Cancun. I told Joe I'd see him in Cancun. Hopefully that is for 2026, God willing. I will work on my meditations on bringing that into reality, and be earnest in my pursuit of that. Um, Dude, so much love for you for listening, for asking questions. I'm so grateful to have a friend like you. Um, Wow, I learned so much in this conversation, and it was really it was really because of how well you listened and how much you care. So thank you for that. You're a gem of a human.
Dude, I feel so touched throughout this entire conversation and inspired by your sincerity and how big and infinite your nature and heart truly is.
Mm.
And to see that landing deeper and deeper, it's like the greatest joy. And also, I love recording these conversations because, like, the last conversation we ran on day two, right? So it's like live from the field,
Yes,
right?
yes,
And it's
yes.
like we were talking about like fucking key cards not working, right? It's like, dude, this is like the essence of life, and it's so beautiful, like
Yeah,
to capture it all.
yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. The little moments of life are so special. And hopefully this will over the next year we'll be able to we'll capture as many little moments as we possibly can and beyond.
Yes, absolutely, bro. This was a true, true, true honor. I can't wait to, like, personally, I can't wait to run this back and listen to it.
Yeah, me too. Oh my God, 3.5 hours. Let's go.
Dude,
Oh
wow.
man. Thank you for the listener as well. We appreciate you. We love you. And I'm so grateful for someone on the other side. Um,
Absolutely.
it means a lot.
Much love. Much love.
Be well, y'all. Peace.